What is happening, people? We're back with the Boss Podcast, episode 2. We've been away for a little while. Me and Jamie done episode 1 a long time ago now, but we're back again. We've been very busy. I haven't give birth, but the wife's give birth, so got 2 kids now. Jamie's also been married. We've all sorts has been happening.
But yeah, here we are anyway, and that's why it took so long for us to get back and do another episode. But to start off, our first ever guest on the Boss Podcast, like he said before, we started at the top. It's my namesake and my hero growing up as well, actually.
My namesake.
Jamie Carragher. What's happening, Carragher? Welcome, lads.
Superb. Thanks for having me on. Honoured to be the first guest on.
Yeah, well, it's like you say, we had to start with the proper Scouser, didn't we?
We did.
Start at the top.
And that's the one.
An absolute Liverpool legend, lad. We had to start with one, didn't we?
There's only one way from here, and it's down, innit, lads? Do you know what I mean? So make the most of this episode, because it's probably going to be the best one we'll do.
Thank you very much as well to our sponsors who sponsored this episode, Hotel Anfield. Thank you very much for the support.
Thanks, Peter. Absolute
legends, you know that. We're always in there when we can be, so on another match day, probably see us in there.
Carragher, first question, this is what we're gonna ask to all our guests who come on. What do you think makes Liverpool boss? Can be the footy team, it can be the city, it can be whatever. What do you think makes Liverpool boss?
The people.
That's took the words out my mouth, that's what I was going to say.
It's the people. It's just, I think I can spot a Scouser before I heard him speak.
You can.
Yeah.
Well, you go to Glastonbury, don't you? And you can spot us everywhere, can't you? There's 110s flying everywhere. Oh, yeah, he's got them.
You don't like 110s though, do you,
I've never wore 110s.
You don't like them, I remember you saying.
Would you believe, just before I come here, I went into our mate Jockey's shop to get some t-shirts for Glastonbury. And he's got a t-shirt with all the 110s on them. So I've got it.
Have you got it?
Yeah. Glastonbury. That'll be the first time I've ever wore 110s.
I remember being in an interview with you, actually in the Angus, ages ago. It was a similar thing for Bosch. And one of the questions was, what's the worst thing about Liverpool? And you said 110s.
And you had them on.
And I had them on, yeah.
I think it's sick the way we still call them 110s, even though they're about 190 quid now. If you want to buy a pair, you know what I mean? We still call them 110s. But we're getting absolutely bumped for them. I can remember when I was a 5.5 buying 2 pairs for 55 quid each.
In the market?
No, from JD.
Legit ones?
5.5.
Oh, years ago.
I was a kid size.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
That's still 110, isn't it?
Yeah, I got 2 pairs for 110.
I remember buying 2 black pairs in St John's Market for 50 quid years ago with me paper dough. With me paper money.
That must be where the people is from.
Yeah, it is the people. And like you were saying about spotting Scousers, I think it's funny as well. When you're on holiday or you're somewhere, I suppose it's a bit different for you a little bit, because people will fly up and be like, what's happening, lads, and blah, blah, blah. But even going back, when you'd see a Scouser, you don't fully let on to each other. It's like half a nod. It's a half a nod, isn't it? It's like a... I'm a Scouser, you're a Scouser, what's happening? You know what I mean? And it's it is, but the people...
But we speak about, everyone says, the humour. But I think there's loads of places that have got humour, but I think it's our type of humour, the one-liners, sometimes when I'm around other people, and they're not on it, they don't get it.
They mistake us for being aggy as well. You know, if you're like, hey, lad, what's this? And you're messing. And they're like, whoa, what's upset? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, I'm only joking. But no, it defo is the people. And I don't know.
I'd find it hard not to live in Liverpool. I think for that thing of everyday life, of the people you bump into, the sort of the camaraderie that we have, the humour that we have, just bouncing off the people, even people I don't know. Yeah. I've just been for something like a coffee day and saying hello to a few fellas and that, and I don't know them. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you feel like we all know each other without knowing each other, don't we?
I feel the same there. People always ask me, well, you're going to move to America for training and stuff like that. I'm like, nah. I don't think I could ever leave this city. I couldn't live somewhere else. I can go on holiday and do stuff like that. I just don't think I could ever leave the city and go and live somewhere else. I'd want my kids to be Scousers, lad, as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there was no other option.
No other option, lads. Got to stay here. Kids have got to be Mickeys.
Well, I've been working with a lad from Brighton, been recording them and stuff like that. And we went to the cafe the other day, Vaughan's. Belter Cafe, if you need to Vaughan's, Belter. And I was pulling up and there was a car parked up outside, and it had sort of took over a car and a half's worth of space, do you know what I mean? And I was coming in behind and there wasn't space, and I just said, hey fella, you're all right there moving forward? And he just went like that, and the lad from Brighton was like, I can't believe how easy that was. You know, if that was like down south, there would have been like, no, I'm not moving, or he'd be like, what's up, and this, that, the other. But
yeah, mate,
man, sound move that forward a bit.
But even also, you were saying they're like going into a coffee shop, and like, even if you weren't Jamie Carragher, I still reckon
everyone
in
smile
60% of them coffee shops, you'd still have them conversations in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All right, lad, what's happening?
That little nod at the head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I'm in Liverpool and someone says hello, and one of the kids will go, do you know him? I go, no. You know, but everyone just lets on to each other.
Yeah.
They do.
It was even like that in my wedding the other night, to be fair. There was people coming up to me saying congratulations. You're like, nice one, fella. Who's that? Who's that? You know what I mean? But it's one of them, innit?
Something I did want to ask you, Carragher, obviously, is what's it like growing up a blue and then like becoming a red? You know what I mean? Obviously, because you were playing for Liverpool when you was younger, just ended up being a red. Like, what is that like? You must get some stick off some of the lads, like.
Yeah, I mean, I seen a lad yesterday. I went for something sweet for Father's Day yesterday, so I was going through this like little street to get back in for the footy.
Yeah.
So I left the meal a bit early, get back in for the England game, and some lad was just like sort of nodding at me, but looking at me, he went, "You're all right." He went, "You were a blue, weren't you, when you were a kid?" So he was obviously never told you know what I mean? I went, yeah, all right, lad. So I get it. I get that all the time, me. But, I mean, not that. I mean, listen, Everton were good.
Yeah.
So it made it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, did you both miss that era, the mid-80s?
Yeah, it was 94, me.
95
so I was,
himself.
Yeah, so I was probably born at the best time, but certainly born at the best time to be an Evertonian.
Yeah.
Probably the best time in their history, but it was brilliant to be a kid, you know, going into school, that rivalry between Everton and Liverpool, cup finals, 84, 86, 89. I went to 86 and 89. Winning the league one year, Liverpool was winning the next, Everton winning the next, Liverpool winning the next. So that time we played, and two teams played each other so often in cup games.
Yeah.
You know, just like an FA Cup sort of fifth round or a League Cup game, or it felt like there was more than sort of 2 league games every season. It felt like it was always sort of at least 3, maybe 4 games a season. 2 best teams in the country. So yeah, I loved it. It was brilliant. But then I was at Liverpool from 9 years of age. Right through. I had a year at Everton when I was about 11 or 12. And that was just me being an Everton fan thinking, you know, Everton after me. And I went to Everton. I was there about a month. I was like, what have I done here?
Yeah. What was the turning point for you? Because I remember reading in like your book, again, like you were warming up at Middlesbrough and the results come in at half time. You know what I mean? And Everton were winning and you went like, that's your dad. Yeah. And like, he's fumed. So what was the turning point for you where you thought like, I'm a Liverpool fan now? Do you know what I mean?
No, but I was still a Liverpool. It was just that you can't go. You might find that strange, but I just flip it and say, imagine someone saying to you tomorrow. I don't find it strange. You can't. Oh well, imagine someone saying to you tomorrow, you can't be happy if Liverpool won. You go, how is that possible?
Yeah.
So that's what I was like at Everton. So it wasn't like bamf. You know, flick the switch, right? You're not that no more. It was just gradual, slowly. So you get to the stage where you still want Everton to win, then you become a bit indifferent, and then you want them to get beat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's almost like 3 stages of it, and you know, it's like a slow process. And then listen, it's just because you're playing derby games, you got Everton fans giving you loads in town or
of course, in
the car, whatever it might be. I mean, not loads, but you know, banter and a little bit of stuff and that. And they're made up when you get beat or you have a bad game or you make a mistake. So it ends up, you know, you think, oh, fuck them. You know what I mean? That
ends
type
up
of
vice versa, don't it? If you're going to think that, then I'm going to think the same.
Yeah, you just flip it, don't you?
Yeah, well, I know how that is. Anytime anything happens to Liverpool now when I'm walking around the street, I just get it myself. Like, you know what I mean? Funny, I had a similar thing where you said like a fella went, yeah, you're all right. I had near enough to where my studio is by Sandhills. Obviously, you've been there, haven't you? Just like a kitchen workshop sort of thing, you know what I mean? And there's a fella who's big blue there, and like I've been there a couple of years, and we never really had that many conversations, and you know, you sort of know who's Evertonians and who's not, like working down there, just on how they greet you and that. And one day he gave me a shout and he was like, I run a kids footy teams, then any chance you can sign a few bits and that and raffle them off, do you know what I mean? And I've been like, yeah, sound like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I'm a blue mate, blah blah blah, and I've just been, and what, like, sort of thing, we're not playing today, are we, lad? Do you know what I mean? Having a laugh with him. Signed all the bits, and then I give him a few more than he asked for and all that, you know what I mean? And I've been letting on to him now and again, and then they beat us in the derby, and I was the first one to said, bet you were happy there the other day, weren't you, lad? And he was come over in a moment, and he went to me, you're actually all right, you aren't you, lads? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, what do you mean, lad? Like, he was like, no, like, you know, all my mates at the match is saying, what are you talking to that blip for, this, that, the other? I was laughing my head off. I was like, lads, do you know what I mean? What do you expect? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I know. I am a bit of a blade sometimes, you know what I mean? But we all are. You know what I mean?
But when we get going, especially, lad, we're all a bit of a blade.
To be fair, I said to the fella, I said, you know what, like, if I...
They deserve to win that game.
If I grew... They did, right?
They were the better team,
no one's ever denying that, but if I grew up, right, an Everton fan, and I seen on my phone every time I went on Twitter, someone doing what I was doing, singing Liverpool songs every time they do
I'd hate them.
I'd hate them.
Yeah.
I'd hate them. It'd take a lot for me to get over the fact that he done that. You know what I mean? I understand.
I mean, I can go back to before yous were, you know, following the teams, and it wasn't the way it is now back then.
No,
that's what I always say that off people.
I think that it was a bit of a myth about this, like the friendly Merseyside derby. I don't think it was ever that. I grew up when it was like, you know, Liverpool, Everton games with deciding titles in FA Cup finals, but
obviously
I don't think
it's each other, but not like now.
No, and I don't know if it's. I try and work it out. But
obviously, all the Everton fans are going to hate me for this, but it's because of how bitter they've become. Know what I mean?
Well, they've got nothing to shout about. So, and I've been an Evertonian when the good times finish, and you get to the early 90s when it's not great, and your only thing is Liverpool not winning. You know, if Liverpool get beat, or they don't win the league, or they don't win the cup, or whatever it may be, they get knocked out the Champions League. So I get all that. It's just when it goes that little bit
too far.
And social media, I think social media is terrible for it.
Some of the things on there
between the supporters and that, I just
some of the things what get said on like Twitter and Instagram and that is disgusting. You know what I mean? Like
it's terrible. But back to Liverpool anyway. You know what I mean? So like obviously your debut Middlesbrough, was that right, for the first team?
Yeah, that was a cup game, a League Cup game that, and at the time, if you remember, everyone was screaming for John Barnes not to be in the Liverpool team. You know, like, he's too slow, he slows it down, he's not a midfield player, he's a winger, you know, and all this type of thing. And that was one of the first games John Barnes didn't play, and we were awful. And we got beat by Middlesbrough. But I came on sub late on in the game. And I think we got beat 2-1, got knocked out the cup, I
hate Middlesbrough, you know. I hate Middlesbrough. Haters. I went years ago.
What's that from?
Went years ago, you probably played when Benitez played Skirtle right back and threw it down and ripped him a new arsehole. And we got beat 2-0.
That's the game Elzar came on and missed the sitter, or was that a bit earlier?
We got beat 2-0, lad, and that was the season we were going for the league. And we also drew at Wigan away when I went to that year.
Was that Lucas Leiva got a penalty in the last minute, I think?
It might have been.
Was it we always played Wigan away in a night.
I know. I remember the one where Charlie...
it wasn't
I remember Charlie Adams' pen stood right behind it. It landed in my garden, I think, in Liverpool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was years later.
I just thought to get that in. I hate Middlesbrough. Yeah. And I've got a few pals from Middlesbrough as well who fight George and Harry. But lad, I hate Middlesbrough, lad. I just thought to get that in. I hate it. I hate them.
Palace as well is another one for you, innit? You don't like them either. I remember you going on
Palace is just that Istanbul game, lad. It's just makes me feel
sick. Was you at that game?
No, I was at that game. Luckily enough, I wasn't at that game. You was.
That was a Monday night football. I remember doing that.
I got home on the coach about 6 o'clock in the morning. Know what I mean? Like
that was disgusting.
Down at Bend, and it was just it made insult to injury. The fact that we knew, know what I mean, for weeks. You know what I mean? I remember Norwich. away because we beat
Norwich.
Yeah, but we beat.
But we were hanging on at the end of Norwich.
3-2. We won. We ended up scoring, and we went 2 up. I think they got it back, and then Sterling scored. Or we might have went 3 up, and then they scored 2. But I remember like Norwich at the time, like because remember we beat City. And like we were all like, typical Liverpool, we'll go to Norwich and drop.
Get beat,
do you know what I mean? So I remember being at Carroll Road and thinking, like, I remember like that game when we won, because we were going on till the end and it was a 3-2. Everyone in the
You know what I
end,
find, man? You know them teams? I'm not choosing those teams particularly, but you've just named there 3 teams who you probably class as like
relegation.
No. But I think we're in a world now, you know, with social media and fans come to Anfield and clubs who don't do nothing. Like, no, notoriously don't win
it's
things.
It's a big day out for them,
but it's like they celebrate other teams sort of failing. Like, I've had when fans come to Anfield and they say, "Oh, you lost the league," or laughing. I think Wolves a couple of times we've had them late in the season, like the last
game was I hate Wolves fans for that.
Exactly, but what my point is, the world we live in now, it's almost the people who don't actually do nothing can almost sit back and just all go, "Oh, we'll laugh at Arsenal now, or we'll laugh at Liverpool, or we'll laugh at United, or we'll laugh at this," and they don't do nothing. And I just think the world's full of people, never mind clubs, people like that.
Yeah, who've never done nothing with their life.
Never done nothing. And you sit there telling other people where
projecting their own misery and onto other people, you know what I mean?
Not gonna lie though, as much as I hate Man City, I'm glad they won the league.
I am. I didn't want Arteta to win that league.
Yeah, I'm not having Arsenal fans.
League.
Arteta's got the same amount of leagues as Klopp.
Yeah, I didn't.
But Klopp shits all over his head as a manager. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just didn't want Arteta winning
and
the league.
And the fans are unbearable.
No, do you know, in my head as well, it's probably how bitter I am as a Liverpool fan. I reckon Evertonians would have took that as a win.
Yeah,
because he's Arteta. You know what I mean?
Like, I just didn't
want none of that. You know what I mean? But so going from Middlesbrough to like your first goal, you know what I mean?
Villa.
Yeah, like feeling.
Yeah, well, I was actually getting marked, I think, by Gareth Southgate. He was he was in the back three for Aston Villa that day.
Man, the most boring man in the world.
I mean, and I just, honest to God, I do think they probably didn't know who I was, and it was a bit like, you know, I'm just running around because we didn't practice corners and nothing like that in those days. It was like, you know, just attack the ball and put it in the box. You know, there was none of like, oh, you run there, I run there, and you see it all now, set piece coaches. So that was just like, I think, I'll just run there.
Yeah.
Little bit of luck goes in, but I mean, it couldn't have been any better. Yeah. I mean, Cop end, it was the first goal. It wasn't even like, we won the game 3-0, but it wasn't like we were 2-0 and I scored at the end. It was like,
the first one.
And Villa then were a top team.
Yeah.
So Villa then were, I know we talk about the top four now, Villa were always in the top four then. For 2 or 3 years when I was sort of getting in the team. It was, Brian Little was the manager. They had like Dwight York. I think Dwight York played that game, yeah. Bosnich in goal, Southgate at the back, Andy Townsend in midfield, who I did after 20. I got booked after 20 seconds, didn't I?
Yeah.
2-footer tackle, yeah.
I remember it.
Scouse that, you know.
Nearly as good as you tackle on Bullard on Soccer AM, mate. Oh, yeah. That was the best I've ever seen.
Sick that, you know. 20 seconds in, yellow card.
Let them know you're there, lads. Let them know you're there, lads.
That's it. Let them know you're there. Fucking smash him.
I was never like technically any good or nothing, but I used to.
I'm looking at you as a fullback.
I was a fullback, you know.
You look like a fullback.
Yeah, I went into centre mid in some of my later years, like, because I got a bit more of a knowledge of the game and I was a talker, you know what I mean? But
not like, touching the ball, just telling everyone else what to do.
Yeah, I weren't good by his shadow.
I was shite, me, like.
But like tackles.
Opposition with you.
I played up top.
You, honest to God.
You're going to say that?
I was going to say that then.
Yeah.
You look like a centre forward.
I was good when we were like 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I stayed that level and everyone else got better.
I can imagine you moaning at everyone up front.
I was just terrible, lad. Like after a few, like now when we play, I'm all right because I've got a bit of fitness, know what I mean? Now when we actually play. But yeah, when I was younger, as I say, 8, 9, I was all right, and then everyone else got better and my level stayed the same.
How did you get into wrestling?
When it comes to MMA, like, one of the lads in the youthy lad, Kyle Wilson, put a fight on one night in the youth club. That's how I got onto MMA. He put it on and I was
so old are you then?
14. And I was in like October, November.
Did you only start when you were like 14?
15, just
fucking hell, lads.
2 weeks after my 15th birthday. He put Diego Sanchez.
Covered this on the first pod, no?
I didn't even know. I've been mates with him since he was about fucking 18, 19. I didn't even know.
He put Diego Sanchez versus Clay Guida on, and lad, they just swung at each other. And I was like, that's sick, that I need to have a go with that. And then I can remember I watched the show to start of January, Vitor Belfort, Rich Franklin, watched that live, went for a jog at 5 in the morning. And then I started training 2 weeks later. I just went. And it's funny because where we are now in Liverpool Podcast Studios, it was over the road in the O5 on the 4th floor. That was the first ever place I trained.
Yeah. Shows the difference between me and you as people, because I look at them fights even when you're fighting and go, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely nah. You know what I mean? Not a chance. Doesn't help that I'm as bad as hard as a wet fart. I've said that a few times, but like, you know what I mean? I look at that and just think, oh nah, you know what I mean? It's like, look at boxing and I used to think like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
Edgard.
Yeah, Edgard. You know what I mean? Big fucking gloves like that, you know what I mean? Like, all right, there's a referee in the thing, but he doesn't do much, do you know what I mean? He just tells you when it's done.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The ref, that is it. The ref just jumps in and tells you when it's over. Done. Or like eye pokes, little ball shots, stuff like that, you know what I mean?
But for the most part,
he's
not pulling you apart like he does in boxing, is he?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just used to. If the ref touches one of you in an MMA fight, it's over. Like, that's why you're on it when like they go to stop and they go, and like, because if he gets in the way and puts his arm on you,
even by accident,
yeah. Well, if he puts his arm on you, it's fight over.
What about if like he stumbles?
That's why like you'll see like Goddard and that, like sometimes they step in and go to touch someone, and like where the person will react, he'll jump back, know what I mean? And then say he gets dropped again, just jump right back in. Like there's been a few early stoppages because of that, know what I mean?
Nuts that.
Bad early stoppages.
Didn't half, no. So, going on to like
my first memories of like being a Red, that treble winning season.
2001, yeah.
They're like my
was brilliant
first
season, that way.
You memorised these notes?
Why is that?
That was like near enough the first point, yeah.
Nice.
Fair enough, lad. You definitely
call me the
your
boy.
own work.
Nah, but yeah, that's like my first memories as a Liverpool
memories
fan.
Watching, or you go in the game?
Watching, know what I mean? Yeah.
That was, I think that's an undervalued season, that.
Oh yeah,
no,
definitely.
It's like it goes under the radar. I think
it's because of Istanbul comes so soon after it. But I mean, that's my favourite of a season.
That Alaves final, like I know people, 5-4. Obviously, wow, like there's fellas, you'll know them as well, Carragher, like from the match, and you'll know them yourself, Pat, from going to the match. You've been to every cup final that Liverpool have been in there.
And
enough, you know what I mean?
That one.
Well, and he mentioned the Alaves one, we say, it was in Germany, you know what I mean? The Boss set in Dortmund, Boss City, you know what I mean? Everyone's on the Boss Ale, exactly, you know what I mean? And also that season as well, you played left back, didn't you, for most of it as well, which was like, was that the first time you'd ever really jumped into that role?
Yeah, that was because I'd played right back the season before. And the reason I ended up at full back, I'd never played full back before. And the reason I played it was because Houllier just loved me. He wanted, obviously he liked me as a player, a personality, and he didn't want to lose me. Because if I hadn't have played, the only way I would have left Liverpool was if I wasn't playing regularly. Because for me, football was my life. I had to be playing every Saturday. And I think Houllier knew that. But at the time, he'd brought in Ippy and Encho. Because the year before, I played centre-half. And I was a young centre-half. I got played Liverpool's player of the season. The following season, I made a few mistakes at the start of the season, as a young centre-back does. So we had Ippy and Encho. They came in and they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. And he's a player, actually. We all love Sammy Ippy. What a signing. But Stefan Encho's probably a little bit underrated for how good he was for those first 3 or 4 years. A brilliant centre-half. So it was a bit like, where am I actually going to fit in here? Yeah. So I think Houllier was almost like, right, where can we get him in somewhere? A bit like Foden now for England. But not as good. Where can we find a spec for him?
All them memes about him last night.
I just looking at that last night thinking, how many centre mids are on the pitch here? Do you know what I mean? But
there was loads, wasn't there? Everywhere.
But no,
should we get back to me at left?
Fuck England. Let's talk about
you brought that one up, guys.
Fuck England.
So I ended up at right back the year before, and then we brought Ziege in to play left back, and it just didn't work at the start of the season.
Christian Ziege.
Yeah, Christian Ziege. So they put me there. Would you believe? I know the first game I played there, we'd played Olympiacos away in the midweek, and I'd played right back because he dropped Encho and put Babel to centre-half. And I think Ziege must have been left back. Ziege got injured. So we were going to Newcastle, and me and Stevie Gerrard were basically together going, well, one of us are going to play left back here. It's always like the local lads, isn't it? So we didn't know until like the day before, or I think maybe a couple of hours before. Because you know what Stevie's like, Stevie could play anyway.
Yeah, of course.
And
the job he done at right back in Istanbul.
Exactly. But it was me. I goes left back. We lose the game 2-1, I think. But we did all right. We had a bad start to the season, a bit up and down. The next game, I think we played at home. I think it might have been Middlesbrough or Sunderland, something like that.
Again.
Middlesbrough again. I think we won 2 or 3-0. So Houllier was massive on clean sheet. So it was like, right, we've got a clean sheet. Same back four again. And then before you know it, boom. This back four got created in about, it wasn't the start of the season. This is about October, November. And then I decided, okay, from there, clean sheet. And then this back four gets built. And it's almost 4 centre-backs. It's Babel, Encho, Ippy and me.
Not too dissimilar to Arsenal this year, is it? You know what I mean?
Or City in some way, sort of 4 centre-backs there. So that was the time when we didn't know what it was before, but as fans you had to get used to it as well as players, was rotation. So we had 4 brilliant strikers. We had loads of wide players. So Houllier changed like 2 or 3 players every game, but he never changed the back 4. So there was 63 games that season. I played 57. Babel played 58. Ippy must have played like 54, Encho 55, something like that. None of us got injured, and we just played and played and played. And the success of that team was built on the the back four.
Consistency.
And keeping clean sheets, yeah. So it worked brilliantly for me. You know, I would never played left back, but I could play anywhere. Not because I was a great player, because I had a great understanding of the game. And that's obviously why I hope that's why I do the job that I do now. But I understand football. I always did as a kid, you know, where you should be when the ball's in certain positions. So I could play in lots of positions.
Do you reckon it's that other thing as well of like, because you're a local lad, you know what I mean, sort of thing, you just adapt, don't you, to do what, like...
Well, that was a saying. It's funny you say that. Houllier used to have a saying. I always remember it, adapt or die. And that was it, basically. And that's what it was like for me. So if I wouldn't have adapted to playing left back, I'd have died. I wouldn't have been a Liverpool player, because I wasn't getting in the centre half with those two the way they were playing. So it was either adapt to playing full back or your Liverpool career's over.
Yeah, it's about to that. Didn't know all that though, that like it started from that. You know
I didn't know you played left back all season.
No,
I just thought that was like the odd few games. You know what I mean? I didn't know you played left back all season.
Yeah, right the way through the season. Yeah,
I can't even kick a ball with my left foot. Serious, lad. So what I always remember of that year is that the Worthington Cup final as well was Birmingham, wasn't it? Yeah.
When did you feel that you were at the peak of your game, Kelly?
People always talk about 2005 Istanbul and that, and listen, it was a great season for me personally. I think I got Liverpool's Player of the Year, and you've got Stevie in the team as well, by the way, so it's hard to get that when Stevie's playing. But I actually feel that the year after I was better, and the year after I was better, I was just getting better and better, and I think it was just because it was more a mental thing of like, I was thinking I'm one of the best players in the team here. And then I'm thinking I'm one of the top defenders in the Premier League. So it was more of a mental thing. And of course, working with Rafa, who was very studious working with the defence. So his first year is 05. So we're better 06, we're better 07. You know, we're just getting better numbers all the time, clean sheets, better defensively. And I become like the organiser or the leader at the back of that team. So you're taking on more responsibility. So I think from 2005 to 2009 is my peak. That's, you know, when we were, and people always say, oh, you never won the league. But that Liverpool team under Rafa Benitez was in the top, I would say 6 teams in Europe, maybe the top 5 teams in Europe. The only problem was 3 of them were in England. That was the problem. So you had, it was us,
United, Chelsea.
Arsenal. We were probably us and Arsenal were pretty similar. And the other 2 European teams at the time were AC Milan and Barcelona. Real Madrid were nowhere.
No.
Inter Milan were nowhere. Bayern Munich were nowhere at that sort of... So if you go through Champions League, you go 05's us, 06 is Arsenal, Barca, final.
Barca won it.
07's us and Milan.
And then 08 Barca,
United.
No, 08 is 08 United, Chelsea.
Yeah, Moscow.
09 is that... who was 09?
Is that no, Inter Milan.
When
they won the treble.
Yeah, it was
they beat Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So for that sort of 5 or 6 years, it was those 6 teams, and of course you had Inter Milan season and Bayern Munich, but they weren't like consistently getting to the final or the semis year after year, really. So it was always Barca and AC Milan and those 4 teams. So I was, without being big-headed, it's just, you know, it's a fact. I was one of Liverpool's best players at the time, and we were probably in the best teams in Europe. So that period for me was me at my absolute peak. And people always say, when I was a kid growing up, people used to always say, 28 your peak. That precise age. Now, players' peak can come at different times. I think attacking players is actually younger, really. But defenders is probably later now.
Well, I think you're not
probably sort of 30, 31. Exactly.
Won't it? You
know
what I mean?
2005, I'm 27.
Yeah.
So I'm 27, 28, 29, 30, 30. You know, that sort of 4 or 5 year period's me at my best. And I think when you're at your best or you're at your peak, certainly as a defender or maybe a holding midfield player, I think when you know you're at your peak is you're that confident, you're that much autopilot. You don't just play your own game. You can almost play someone else's game.
Play below us as well.
Yeah, but a little bit, you know, a little bit like you think, I'm that confident, I feel like I'm that in control here. I can not switch off the wrong way, but I can go, I can look at Stephen Wright. Maybe a young fullback comes in, say Flannel plays, or Stephen Wright, they're young. I needed looking after, we all need looking after when you come in the team. But you've got that ability where it doesn't affect your own performance, that you can go, I'm just going to keep an eye on him today. Just make sure. So I'm always talking to him as opposed to speaking to people in front of me or the striker. It's like, I need to just keep an eye on him today. And, you know, you're almost playing 50% of his game, but you're that like confident at that time that you can still have a good game.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit of autopilot in it, where you've done it that many times.
Just despite that confidence though, right? And like obviously you know your game inside and out at this point, and like I would definitely like, not that I had like, not that my memory like pre-2005 is that great because it was, you know, 10, 11, but kids. Like I remember 2005 onward, you were a colossal at the back. And I remember the amount of, you know, I remember priding myself on your tackles, you know what I mean? And like if your positional play at that time was like, because like, you know,
you didn't miss a game.
Playing against quick forwards, do you know what I mean? Quick, very quick forwards, powerful forwards like Drogba's, Henry's and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But your positional play, I always remember. And I always remember my dad was a centre half, and like obviously everyone's dad thinks they know better than they actually do. But I remember him used to always say his positional play is second to none. You're never worried if it's on that side because you know Carragher's there, sort of thing. And you know, you had a few partners over the years, and like I don't think any of them, some of them were like that. I think Danny Agger as a footballing centre half was probably one of the best I'd seen in the early days, but then he had injury problems. You know, Skirtle was hot and cold for me. He was a solid centre half, but it was hot and cold, and I always felt that as long as you were there, you know what I mean, like it was definitely all right. But speaking of your confidence, was there any players who you play against, you knew you were playing against, and he'd keep you up at night? Was there anyone like?
There was only one, and that was Henry. I always say that. And I get on great with Thierry now, because we worked together on the TV. But he wasn't a problem when you were centre half. He was a problem when you were right back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much Thierry Henry, it was Arsenal. Yeah. That Arsenal team, I think for a couple of years made me think, you know, you're going into the game thinking, it makes you feel a little bit out of your depth.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, you know, if you're playing against a top striker who's a brilliant player, you might think, right, I'm going to leave one on him, see how he reacts, really get after him, and you know. But that Arsenal team are that big and that powerful. You try and do one of them, and you just bounce off them. Even Bergkamp was massive. Shoulders. You'd stand in the tunnel against that Arsenal team, and you know what it reminded me of? The original Klopp team that you know, that won the league, and the couple of years before won the Champions League, the year before won the league. When you used to look at that Liverpool team, even Salah and Mane were like, you know, Jesus. Like bang. Firmino was strong, and then you had like that midfield who was all run. Van Dijk's a giant. Matip, you know, and you're thinking the goalie's massive. Just that presence. And I remember sort of seeing that Liverpool team a few times in the tunnel. Say you're doing something for Sky, and you see them going out, and you're like, fucking hell. You know, even before you've kicked the ball, you're looking at that thinking, and that's the way it was with Arsenal. I always say this. United obviously dominated the Premier League. You had Mourinho's Chelsea, you had Milan and Barcelona at the time. Great teams, but the best team I ever played against was Arsenal. And not so much, people always talk about the Invincibles team.
I was going to say it was a dominant.
It was more that era. They should have won the league 3 years in a row. They threw it away in 2003, and Man United won it, but they won it in 2002. They won the double. United won it because they basically threw stupid points away at the end of the season, and then Arsenal come back and done the undefeated thing. But for me, that sort of 2 or 3 years of Arsenal, that was the toughest team I'd played against.
Would you say he's the best player you've ever played against, Thierry?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
He was a special player.
I think he's the best player to play in the Premier League. I think Thierry Henry. But as I said, I think it wasn't just him. It was like Perez and Ashley Cole,
and
it was just like you were on the waltzers. You know, you didn't know what to go in there. Was there a runner there? And it was like basically it was happening too quick.
Yeah,
where
before you could think.
Yeah. Basically, that's basically
one side, Lundberg the other, Bergkamp.
It was a joke of a team. I remember them do it. I remember
centre mid.
I remember being 1-0 up at Anfield. Oh God, I must have been about 7 or 8, and Perez turned around and scored 2. And he scored that.
He bent one, didn't he?
And I remember being behind it. You know what I mean?
The Anfield Road end.
Yeah, and it started. You know what I mean? And you just remember, I was behind, to be honest, I was the Anfield Road then for a load of bad results, like the Diego Forlan one. It was right behind fucking Barthez.
I headed that back to do that.
I just dropped it. And I remember me out fella giving Jersey a few words after that one, you know what I mean? But like...
Oh, sick, that.
Just looking through a few...
Arsenal must hate us, though. That FA Cup final, lad, they battered us for 90 minutes.
Oh, the Michael Owen one?
Yeah. That went the year the treble, you know what I mean? Lad,
but it was funny that because we went into that game So that's two, yeah. We'd beaten Arsenal 4-0 at Anfield that season. And I think we might have drew away, if I remember. I can't picture it. I think we might have drew away from home. No, we never. The Arsenal game was the second game of the season, away from home. And it was, would you believe, they wouldn't allow it now. We played on the Saturday, and I think we played Bradford at home. Esky scored the winner. Then, so we played Saturday, and then Monday Night Football was us v Arsenal.
What? Straight away?
So like you had the Sunday, and then we played Monday night.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed to do that now.
They wouldn't be allowed to do that now.
Arsenal played Saturday as well?
Yeah.
So
he was going, the Premier League corrupted against us. The Premier League was doing it years ago.
Been out of 50 years, that cunts. I wouldn't be saying that. John Otterberg would though.
Yeah, definitely would.
So we played the Monday night, and I played in midfield. Vieira got sent off, but Gary McAllister got sent off in the first half. We got beat 2-0. So it was only, the season hadn't really started. Then before you know it, I get into the left back thing. And I think we played them in December at home. We beat them 4-0. Remember Stevie Gerrard scored a volley, but he hits it into the floor.
Oh yeah, I'm on it.
So we beat them 4-0. And then I don't think there was that much between us in the league. I think we finished third, but it wasn't that much. But we're going into that cup final thinking, yeah, we can do these. And then even though you win it, you know, when you come off and you sort of look at each other and go, fuck yeah. we got because Man United had won the league. And us and Arsenal, I'll say like there's 3 or 4 points between us. And we're thinking, right, there's only United we've got to catch. Well, the same as Arsenal. And I think coming off that game, I just remember thinking, nah, we've still got a little bit. We've still got to go to Arsenal. And then Arsenal the next year, go and win the league, 2002. You know, so I think even though we won that cup final, you saw it on the day. I remember Vieira's performance.
As I say, I remember watching that final and my mate was only like 5, 6. And I was just like, what's going on here?
But you know the great thing about that final as well, I think it was not a wake up call's the wrong word there. But what I've just said about where we thought we were as a team, I think it was a little eye opener for Stevie Gerrard, in that after that game it was like Vieira was that good. That game was a bit like, and we all have them as players where you think you're doing all right and go, oof, there's still another bit I've got to go here. So I think even after that game, Stevie's had an unbelievable season, the treble, scored loads of goals. He's probably still thinking, okay, there's still another bit for me to go to get to maybe Vieira and Keane here. You know,
definitely say that himself, Stevie.
Yeah, because that game, Vieira was that good. It was like, I just remember him just running through our midfield, especially second half. Yeah. And you know when someone's quicker than like our players and he's got the ball.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. You know, you're just watching it thinking,
he had big, massive legs, didn't he? Them strides, what Vieira used to do.
Going from that final to like Istanbul, right, obviously, like that Milan team on paper.
One of the best 11s teams ever. One of the best 11s of all time, lad.
Best player in the world at the time. Everyone was saying, you know, the Amsterdam nest there.
He'd absolutely tore United's arsehole apart, hadn't he, in the build? Or was that 07?
I think that might have been a couple of years later, actually, yeah.
Never forget that when he scored 2 at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I remember
just took the absolute piss.
Was that like, obviously like by now loads of people have heard all the stories from our time at Istanbul and stuff like that, but like was that a moment like going into that game, did you think like we should be here, or was it like, you know, when you think like
not really, as in I did. I wasn't nervous at all, really. I was more nervous 2 years later, because it was almost like not we were expected to be, but you knew what was at stake. Whereas 2005 I was a bit like, wow, I'm going to make sure I enjoy this. You know, I'm like, wow, am I ever going to... I didn't think I'd ever play in a European Cup final. You know, I knew I was playing for Liverpool and I knew I was a decent player, but I thought, you know, there's levels. And like, when I used to watch Champions League finals, you're talking about like the Maldinis, the Berezzis, the Ajax teams. I used to watch the Juventus teams that came after that under Lippi, Van Gaal's Ajax team I just mentioned. I used to just admire these teams. I'd know all the players, you know, 1 to 11, where they played, the tactics, the systems and all. I used to watch these and think, well, I'm a pro footballer, but this is different. This is it's a different level, this. And the reason I say that is because even at the time when Arsenal and Man United were winning leagues in the 90s, they were getting nowhere near Champions League finals. They were just like, they weren't even getting close, really. And so I was a bit like, wow. You know, I remember the night before the semi-final against Chelsea at home.
The ghost goal game,
Yeah. But I remember going for a walk on Crosby Beach. And I was, whatever the time was, I was thinking, no, it must have been, I was thinking, in 24 hours time, or a bit more, 48 hours time, I'm going to know if I'm in a European Cup final. That's what was going through my head before the Chelsea game. It's a bit like, I can't believe I could be in a European Cup final here.
What's that like to deal with, though?
No, but for me, it wasn't like nerves or not like that. I think that Scouse thing of like, I'm like, wow, but like, I'm going to have a good go with it. Yeah, I'm not going to like be terrified or fear anything.
Let them worry about us, sort of thing.
Yeah, but not worry about, like I'm going to put myself about. I'm not going to be like in the headlights, rabbit in the headlights. So the Chelsea game happens, we get through, and then the Milan game. Yeah, I mean, I'm right on it. I'm right up. But don't forget, Milan, I think, finished third in Serie A that season. Juventus won the league. We beat Juventus in the quarters. So I'm thinking, all right, they're probably going to be the same as Juventus. And to be honest, Juventus wasn't that hard.
No.
Italian teams, the only time I've played an Italian team,
we beat them 2-0 at home, didn't we?
2-1 at home, and then 0-0 all the way to
0-0 away. Scoring that goal. Like.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, Italian teams are normally like, the game's quite slow.
Yeah, they're good defensively, aren't they?
About Arsenal, sometimes things are that quick. You don't know what's going on. But it was the opposite with Italian teams. It was that slow. You'd always get back in position. You always felt like, sometimes, I mean, this might sound mad. When we played Inter Milan, 2 or 3 years later, it was one of the easiest games I've ever had.
Really, yeah.
And they've got like some great players. We played the San Siro, we played them at home. I'm not saying it in like a cocky way. It was easy.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like the Premier League, the intensity of the Premier League was that fast that when you'd play in Europe, it felt like a stroll sometimes, you know. But what I'd say is in 2005, against AC Milan, that was the first time I played against an Italian team, or the only time I ever played against an Italian team where it felt like I was playing against Arsenal or something like that, where it was just like, fast and people were moving. You didn't know, you had no time to speak to someone. It was happening 100 miles an hour because Italian teams just didn't play like that. And then that first half, it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Because I knew they were great. You look at as you said, the names.
The names of that team.
I didn't think they were that good to put on a performance that good.
Yeah.
You know, because as we played against Juventus.
You could probably name all 11 players now, lad. That's how good that team was. Yeah. And that final was 19 years ago. You could probably name their starting 11. That team was that good.
Easy, yeah.
It's crazy that obviously 2005 we won, and like when you look at the highlights of the game and that, we probably didn't deserve to win. You know what I mean? But then 2007 we absolutely battered them. And we deserve to win.
Don't worry, no one remembers 2007.
Yeah, no, they don't like.
But the rumours too as well, Cara, right? That like at half time they were all cocky. Like,
no, I don't think
so. Is that a load of thingy, that is it, yeah.
No, like walking down a tunnel and that.
I heard Gattuso was like
meant to be a bell end anyway, though, isn't he?
Gattuso was just meant to be
like,
he's just an angry man.
It's half his fault he lost, didn't he? Touched the trophy on the way out.
I reckon, and like, I seen this. I remember seeing this at the time.
Never forget it. He goes and kisses his hand and touches the trophy.
Yeah, but I remember seeing this, and at the time, right, and it's mad because I think it might have been you who said it in an interview years later. You know, on the second goal that we score, Carragher ties his laces.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
He bends that the ball's going, but he was that cocky, right? I think their own cockiness let them down because that's why I asked, because the ball gets played across, right? Just before Smeetser takes the touch, and it fucking practically rolls over Carragher's toe, and he's bent down tying his laces, and he just he literally has to do that, and the ball stopped at his foot, and it rolls like over, and I think, like, I remember seeing the replay,
thinking you could have got your foot for that.
And I remember saying, why is Carragher been tying his shoelace there? I remember it, like, my family at the time, like, what are you on about? So I was like, look at that replay there. And I was about 11 and I was on it to fucking remember seeing it. And I was like, and we were all laughing, saying the soft bastard, you know what I mean? And
all you have to do was stick his foot
literally,
out.
if you watch that again, if anyone watches that again, like, I was convinced.
No, I'll be honest, I've never noticed that, but now you've mentioned that I'm on a fucking stay.
But I'd forgotten about it. And then I remember seeing you do, I think I was playing at one of your nights or something like that, years ago. And I remember you talking about it. And I was like, hell, I remember that, you know what I mean? And like, honestly, go back and watch the footage of Smeetser's goal. The ball gets played across. I forget who gives it to Smeetser.
Haman.
Might have been Diddy, yeah. Haman, it was Diddy. And he's fucking tying a shoelace. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I always say, no, doesn't get enough credit for that goal. Fucking Milan Barros, lad.
Yeah,
getting out of the way of it. He needed some credit for that.
But he, when you think about Milan in that game as well, the touch he does for the penalty.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's my pass, yeah. So I step out with it, roll it into him. I'm sure he just does a tiny little touch for Steve.
Like,
he done it around
and
the
then
corner.
he runs onto the ball.
Yeah. He should have been sent off there.
What was the score with that, with Gerard and Xabi with the pen? Like, because everyone in the world had Gerrard.
Yeah, but if you remember, I know Gerrard wasn't our penalty taker. It sounds mad. Benitez, right? We didn't have a penalty taker. Benitez would pick the team and go, right, you're on there on set pieces. And he'd have the penalty as a set piece and he'd go, right, today it's Bump. And he'd put the player's name down. So Stevie wasn't like definitely our penalty taker the way he became after that season. But Rafa used to sort of almost pick the penalty taker before the game. So like sometimes it was mad. It was bizarre that like, but sometimes someone would grab the ball on the pitch and take it. So there was a game the year after when I think we signed Bellamy the year after. So Bellamy hadn't scored for a bit. We got a penalty away at Birmingham in the League Cup. And Bellamy wasn't on them, but he hadn't scored, so he took it and he missed. He brought him off right away and he fined him.
You weren't the biggest fan of Bellamy, was he? I remember he did.
He fined him for missing a pen?
No, not for missing, for taking it.
Oh, for taking it. Sorry. I thought like he was getting a fine there for missing. I was going to say, fucking hell, Benitez, that's cold.
I don't think Alonso had ever taken a penalty before.
Yeah.
In a proper game.
Don't think he ever took one again for us, did he?
I don't think so, no.
He ever took one again for Liverpool?
Yeah. Well, he missed it, didn't he? But, you know, the rebound. He missed it, but he scored the rebound. It was
Didi, a crab.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's you know, going on to like from Houllier to Benitez, was that a bit of a difference in management, or were these similar managers in the way that?
No, they were different. Houllier was a manager, Rafa was a coach.
Nice.
That's the best way to describe it. Really.
See, what's the difference for you there then, Jamie, where you're a player? What's the difference between a manager and a coach?
Well, Houlier's almost overseeing everything.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got his coaches there, Sammy Lee, Phil Thompson, another French fella. But he's making sure, basically, Houllier used to just watch a lot.
Love that, by the way. Sammy Lee, Phil Thompson, and another French fella.
Yeah. No, it changed. It was Patrice Bergs.
Scousing again.
Yeah. That's why you're the first guest, lad.
Patrice is not going to listen to this, is he? So we had 2 or 3 different French coaches who came on over Houlier's time. But Houllier was like, his attention, people always say, don't you hear this all the time? I'm sure even in anyone's game now, your game, attention to detail. Yeah. But Houllier was the first one where I was a bit like, wow. You know, like just the things he'd notice and see and pick up on.
That's what I think of like Pep now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his attention to detail.
I don't think there are managers now. I think they're all coaches. All coaches. They're called the manager. But I don't think this idea now, because, you know, people say Ferguson did it, but Ferguson was a manager starting in the 70s. That's what managers did. Then the coach done it. So he's that successful. He's not going to change that much. But I would imagine Jurgen was maybe a coach. And what happens is Rafa did this. They step back slightly a little bit the longer they've been there. And I imagine Jurgen's probably done that with Pep Linders. Yeah. He's probably come in, he's on the training pitch every day. And then it slowly... They think, oh, maybe the players are sick of my voice every single day, and someone else maybe takes a bit more of a prominent part. That happened a little bit with Benitez towards the end, but Rafa he was on the training pitch doing the training sessions. Houllier would be watching the training sessions, I would say, and picking up little tiny things. Yeah. I wouldn't say Houlier's knowledge of football was anywhere near Rafa's. No. Nowhere near it. But Rafa's man management was nowhere near Gerard.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So I always say this, I think if you put the two of them together,
them both together,
you probably have the best manager
ever
in the world, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the way it was. But Houllier created something. I played my best football under Rafa. But my favourite time under Liverpool even though I played better, we won the Champions League, got to Champions League finals, the camaraderie of that group under Houllier, he'd create a team spirit. Yeah. He'd create like a journey, a vision where we're all going. We obviously had Phil Thompson, Sammy Lee coaches. There was a real like togetherness, I think, for 2 or 3 years. When Rafa was there, even though we were winning, it still always felt, you could probably remember as fans, still always felt like there was something going on in the background, whether it was the Americans,
just
whether it was...
That. Yeah, that's one of the points.
Yeah.
You sure you haven't read these notes?
No, I had a quick look through.
No, but it always felt like there was... You could never fully enjoy it because there was something going on in the background. And listen, sometimes that was to do with Rafa. I think he quite enjoyed the fight. Yeah. You know, whether it be with the opposition, whether it be with his own owners, whether it be with an agent. The
one thing I always used
sort of enjoyed conflict.
I think I got this off my dad. I'm sure my dad said about Rafa years ago. He cut his own nose off to spite his face.
Yeah, but what Rafa would do was he wouldn't give you the team until an hour before the game. because he was terrified of the opposition, knowing what the team was. So now and again, you could go into a team meeting and you go, oh, I remember the first time it happened, we were away at Goodison, and Rafa's first season, and he just put Alonso on the bench and Salif Diao played. Now we might have been thinking Salif Diao physical.
Was that the one when Andy Johnson scored and Reina dropped it? No, not that one. Was that the year later?
Don't mention that one. I wasn't great that one. No, who scored? Lee Carsley scored.
Oh, okay.
The 1-0.
Yeah. We got beat 1-0, but it was just a little sort of realisation of like how it was going to be under Rafa. But I think Rafa learnt after that game that like there's certain games that you don't
do that. Yeah,
the derby
being
one.
Salif Diao, I
remember he done it in 08 though. Or I think it was 07 or 08 away at Goodison, where we actually turned it round. It was when Dirk went in.
Oh, he brought Stevie
taking a leaf out of Paddy's book on Phil Neville, weren't it? With the tackle.
Absolutely nailed him.
Yeah, and then like I remember like bringing Stevie off for Lucas. And I remember in the away end, everyone was like, what the fuck's he doing? You know, like going nuts. And obviously, like...
A lot of the time it worked,
I know, Lucas won the pen, didn't he? Because the thingy handballed it. And I remember after the game, and like, it was the first interviewer's question.
That was Lucas's debut, in fact.
Yeah.
That one when he went to score and Phil Neville handballed it. That was Lucas's debut, because I always said he would have pushed on from there if he would have scored that goal. You know what I mean? But for like a season or two, he didn't look the best, did he? He's one of my fawrite ever players, to be fair, Lucas Leiva. I love Lucas.
Great lad.
I'll catch up with him in July. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. But
it was funny, you know, when you Everton away is a different away game to any other, just because of the geography.
So how close you are to the pitch.
No, I don't mean that. I mean it's like
a different routine.
You have the same. Your routine's as if you were playing at Anfield. It's like a home game because you don't stay in a hotel.
Don't do no travel.
It's across Stanley Park. So what you'd always do playing at Anfield is we'd go to Melwood. We'd go to Anfield, you'd park your car there, a coach would then take you to Melwood. So this was our routine for every home game. Yeah. Coach takes you to Melwood, you then have your pre-match, the coach then brings you back for the game. When the game's finished, your car's at Anfield. So you do the same for when the game was at Goodison. So we go back to Melwood, but obviously we don't park at Anfield because the game's at Anfield, but so we go back to Melwood on the coach, we get off, and Stevie went to see Rafa right away.
Did he after it? Yeah.
So normally, like a couple of days after, you might say, "Boss, can I have a word with you?" It might be about like I was sub or whatever. Yeah. Could be anything. But Steve was like, "No, I'm going in now."
I need to go and find out.
I remember his interview after the game, no Rafa's, and he was like, "Sometimes players play too much with their heart and not enough with their head." And I was like,
I think
that's an icy thing to say.
I mean, listen. Sometimes, do you remember a few
Rafa
years later?
Used to say some mad things.
Yeah, but a few years later, Rafa brought Torres off at Birmingham. And do you remember Torres walked off and Stevie was shaking his head?
Yeah,
because we needed a goal. Yeah. But I could see where Rafa was coming from there, because Torres was awful in that game. Absolutely awful.
He had games like that, didn't he?
So sometimes he'd make decisions, but you'd go, okay, it might upset people because it's a big name or he's made a change, but sometimes deep down you go, he's right.
Yeah.
But that one was like, I don't know if something had gone on. Stevie used to say, like, I don't know if he'd done an interview or something. It wasn't on that game. There's no way, because Stevie actually got us the penalty. Was that the game with, it's the Clattenburg game, isn't it? Yeah.
What's this? You talking about Birmingham here?
No, I'm talking, so you go back to that game at Goodison. Yeah. When you're talking about Stevie playing, Stevie got us back, and Stevie got the penalty.
The first one.
Hibbert brought him down.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, hang on, he's got us back into the game. It's not like,
you
know, so I don't know if it was something, but listen, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, a long time ago. It's just like, I loved Rafa, you know what I mean? And like, I think a lot of Liverpool fans still do. But like, I remember reading in Bellamy's book that like he just went to him at the back of the plane after Athens and he said like, make plans for next season. And he was like,
he's so good on the training pitch, Rafa. He doesn't miss anything on it. And
for a defender, like a cold-hearted dude.
Rafa, like. He's like, for me, the attacking players didn't probably enjoy him that much.
Yeah.
Because even in training, we play with offside. You know, little things like that where he pisses the attackers off because they want to go and finish. But for us, every day, pushing up, dropping off, where's the line, catching someone offside. So for me, it was brilliant. But the attacking players, but he was just cold. And I don't actually think it was deliberate.
Do you think it's just a bit of a European thing?
No, but I think it's his personality.
Yeah,
it was his
just the way he is.
That's the way he was. So you've got to take, you know.
He's half the opposite of Jurgen. You know what I mean? Where Jurgen's a proper man manager.
Yeah.
Rafa was just like a bit cold. And that's just his personality, I thought. Because he was like that every other team he went to. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even like with Chelsea and stuff like that, he never really show any emotion. Did he? Just stand there.
Well,
like
to
that,
be honest, if he showed any emotion for any team in his career, it's been Liverpool,
Yeah.
hasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so moving on from Rafa, obviously, like Hodgson came in and stuff like that.
Let's not talk about that.
Nah, but there was a few problems, weren't they? So do you reckon it like was it?
Sorry, lad.
Oh, good lad.
Elbowed you, Mike.
I'm not going to say nothing to you, Paddy. It's all right, mate. But so like obviously there's a few problems there, and it's like a combination of, or is it a combination of Hicks and Gillette, Rafa leaving and Hodgson coming in? Like, where do you think it's sort of like
where it fell away there?
Yeah, after that.
If you know, with Houllier and Rafa, listen, you're building for sort of like, and every year you're getting better.
Yeah.
And we're getting, the target's the title. But we weren't a club then who could like, okay, we didn't win the league this year, or we were not close. We're going to fix it in the summer by buying all the best players. We weren't that type of club then. And we're still not. We're almost like, right, we're building, and every year we're getting better. Same with Houllier. And it gets to that stage where you really come close. And we completely fell away under Houllier. And we did the same under Benitez. We got to the second, and the next year everyone's thinking, we're going to win the league now. And then like, before we finished 7th, we completely fall away. So I just think with Houllier and Benitez, it ran its course, really. And I think after Houllier, you're bringing Benitez in. But after Benitez, you bring in Roy Hodgson in, who's a steady manager. He's a good manager. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and criticise Roy Hodgson. He's a top. Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah.
So, and also then you have got the Americans in the background where they're probably thinking about how can we get out of here with our dough or whatever. So, you know, the players you're bringing in are not great. We lost Mascherano that summer, didn't we?
Yeah.
We lost Mascherano and Torres. Torres just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And it's
Alonso
the first
as
time.
well, like hadn't Alonso gone as well, or was that the last year of Rafa?
No, that was the last year of
Was it?
Rafa.
Yeah,
and you know what? I'm very, really critical of my own manager. I've got so much respect for that. And I always think of the help they've given me. And I also think I haven't been a manager.
Yeah.
But I think Rafa and Alonso, Rafa should have dealt with that better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
It's like what you say, cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
It was like, people remember Alonso as like a great player for Liverpool. But what Alonso did was, his first season was unbelievable, brilliant. And his last season was unbelievable. In between was just decent good.
Yeah.
It wasn't off the scale amazing, because sometimes he was injured. We brought Mascherano in. Sometimes Stevie would play deeper. So Alonso wasn't like a major mainstay every game of Liverpool of like,
He wasn't like a talisman, was he?
08.
Yeah.
He was more, and that's why he was nearly leaving at the end of 2008, because he wasn't a major fixture. And I think Arsenal came in for him. So there was no Real Madrid or nothing, it was Arsenal. So, and don't forget, we were trying to bring in Gareth Barry to replace him. Now, people at the time going, like, Alonso's a better player than Gareth Barry.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Alonso was like
The player that we know now.
But the play we saw in the first season, or the play we saw in the last season. So it was probably one of the first times Rafa had lost almost like a PR battle, if you like, with the fans, because he'd always had them on side, whether it was, you know, with a player, David Moyes and Rick Parry, the Americans, whatever it was. Rafa's cute. He's clever. He knows how to play the game, and that's a part of his management. But he'd almost lost this little fight, but I think a lot of the fans were like, Gareth Barry, Alonso type of thing. So in the end, the club wouldn't sanction it, because I think it was Arsenal. Arsenal, and also a bit like, and I think what I was told, whether this is true, I don't know the full facts. I think that the plan was, okay, we'll get 25, 30 for Alonso. We can get Gareth Barry for 15. I think that's the way I was told. Rafa sort of presented that to the board, type of thing. And then when it got come back, it was like Aston Villa were going, no, we want 30 million. And Arsenal were going, we're only paying 15. Yeah. So from thinking you're swapping those two players and maybe getting an extra 10, 15
and then the prices are vice versa.
It's actually we're losing Alonso and we're losing 50. No. So I think the club, and so then there was a bit of a problem. So I think Rafa and Alonso then had like a bit of, but the next season we nearly won the league and Alonso was fantastic. And I think as a manager, if I was a manager there, I was thinking, I haven't lost the battle, I've won it. Because that fella now has played better than he has done for the last 2 years. And we've got a team who's gone that close to the league. Let's keep this together. Let's maybe try and add one player, two player. But it still became this thing about Alonso's got to go. I'm thinking, why does he have to go?
Yeah, because he tried to force before. Get
get him to sign a contract. And then, because he'd played that well that season, all of a sudden Real Madrid did him for. And you do get, I think, the 30 million or whatever. But the year before, it wasn't Real Madrid or Barcelona come for it. It was Arsenal, who were a similar level to us. And that shows that Alonso hadn't been out of this world for the 12 months previous. And I just thought, you can't go that close to the league and then lose a player of that quality and think, we brought Aquilani. When people say to me, what was he like in
training, lad?
He didn't train. He was always injured. but what I'm saying is, when people say about Liverpool now and have a go at FSG and stuff like that, right? And I always defend them and people think I've got some link with the club. I don't get paid by the club. No. I pay for my own season ticket. My dad, not me, James. But I'm not going to criticise someone who've come in and done a great job. That type of transfer now would never be allowed to happen at our club now. Yeah. Because the people above them would just go, what? He's been injured for 3 months already. Yeah. He's only played that many games in his career. We bought him injured. Yeah. So he wasn't even. So you're losing Alonso and you're buying a player who's actually injured. So that was just a panic buy out of nowhere. So not every signing works, but the thing that I love about Liverpool now is that, when they've signed someone, it's like it's prop. It's like
they haven't been bullied into it or forced into it.
And listen, it was the old-fashioned way of doing it then. Of like Houllier or Benitez, they might like a player. They'd have a scout, of course they wouldn't. Yeah. And listen, a lot of those two managers brought some great players to our club. Don't get me wrong, but you look at certain sort of transfers and you just think. And that's one of them that would not be allowed to happen.
No, that wouldn't happen.
No, even like mad ones like Jan Kamp and shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Liverpool don't go out and buy players like that anymore. It just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't see it happening. But I always remember Gareth Barry. Like I remember that season. Like I think it was 08-09, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Was that the season, or did he go the year after?
Wasn't that the season we beat United 4-1 at Old Trafford as well?
Well, our rivals for the title were United and Chelsea. We beat them home and away.
Yeah. Well, I always remember.
And then we drew that many games.
Yeah. I always remember a couple of weeks after Gareth Barry was playing for Everton at the time, and just Gareth Barry was on my head. I thought to tell this story. I think it was a couple of weeks after we played in Wembley and knocked them out, and we seen Gareth Barry in Passion, remember Passion the nightclub, and being with all the lads from the match and that.
In Ibiza?
No, Passion in town. Passion in town.
No, but opposite G-Bar.
Passion, I don't know.
Eberly Street.
It's called House or something now, but it used to be called Passion.
Same road as Garland's.
It's where all the lads went, weren't it? You know what I mean?
Everyone used to go there.
I think I'd seen you in there a few times over the years, do you know what I mean? And Gareth Barry's in there, and like, he comes to the bar for whatever reason, and he goes like, "You all right, boys?" Do you know what I mean? To like, Liverpool, practically, not me, but some of the lads were there, like Liverpool hooligans and that, you know what I mean? And he'd just come, "All right, lad, Stevie finally let you out of his pockets," as one of the lads said. And he got like a bit, he went, "Well, I've had him in my pocket a few times, and the lad went to him, "Fuck off, lad, you haven't even got a pocket," you know what I mean? And he just got ripped off, you know what I mean? The whole club was laughing at him, you know what I mean? But Gareth Barry, man.
That one when Andy Carroll scored.
Yeah, I think it was that one when Istanbul saying that he'd give the ball back to Suarez, didn't he? But
that was one of the things that I did see on the sheet before. I think, what was it, Suarez or Torres?
Suarez v Torres,
Suarez or Torres.
Do you want to talk about your England career?
What England career?
38 caps, it says here, lad.
88?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
38 it says.
Oh, 38, yeah.
38, yeah.
No, I thought so.
I thought you on there.
No, I thought you did.
Stat man.
Count as all my youth ones or something then.
No,
but you know what? I love playing for England up until the full team.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was always on the outside looking in, but like I went to Lilleshall, which was basically the England team of 14, really, for 2 years. So I lived away from home, played for like the 18s.
Is it true Lampard never got into that?
No, he was in the trials, I remember him,
And he never got in?
No.
Never went to the school?
No, but everyone just...
Develops at different age?
Yeah,
No,
he was quite a chubby kid. I remember him there. He was a little bit of like Simba on him. But I mean, what a career he has.
No, amazing, yeah, of course. So I remember like, off England, like he's put it in there, I think it's quite funny. When you missed the pen for England, did Kenny text you saying, "I'd rather miss a pen for England"?
No, he phoned me laughing, Scotland, and I said, "I'd rather miss it for England than for Liverpool." So he phoned me the next day, Kenny,
Scouts that, getting the phone call in right away.
Who said, "Fuck it, it's only England"? Was that you or him?
I think I put that in my book.
It was supposed to be, yeah. He's obviously pulled it from that. But back to Paddy's question.
Yeah, but lad, I don't. For me personally, like I love Fernando Torres, lad. absolute legend for the Reds, even though he absolutely dogged us. Told him that when I seen him at that Legends game the other week. Yeah, I got a picture with him. But I said to him, "You ratted us there, lad." But for me, that's not even a question. Suarez or Torres?
Suarez for me.
Suarez on his day he was possibly the best player I've ever seen in a Liverpool shirt on his day.
I think if Suarez would have stayed or we'd have won the league, say if we'd have won the league that season, and basically
he won it on his own, basically. Know what I mean?
Probably one of the most one-man teams, and you're saying that with Stevie Gerrard in the team as well.
Stevie complimented him, though.
Of course. And
obviously Sturridge as well. But
I think if we'd have won the league that season, and Suarez had still left, I still think most people would go, he's definitely in the top 10 players to ever play for Liverpool, probably in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that last season at Liverpool and his next sort of 2 or 3 at Barca, he was the best centre forward in the world.
Yeah. He defied the laws of physics a few times, lad, do you know what I mean?
You know, we've probably all believed we've had the best striker in the world, whether that was like Ian Rush or Torres at one stage, or Michael Owen when he was like banging them goals in the World Cup for England. But really, you probably go, oh no, these other 2 or 3 are probably better than our one. But Suarez was the best centre forward in the world.
I know it's Norwich, lad, but that hats or the 4 goals against Norwich, lad.
I mean, he scored a few hatties against them.
He
did.
Just
fun, like, you know what I mean? I remember being like, Norwich away used to be our best away on the coach because it was the longest coach journey and you just get absolutely, you know what I mean, like, on the way down there and that. And you'd always win by 3 or 4, you know what I mean, if Suarez was on the pitch, and you wouldn't be tap-ins, would
remember the one from the halfway
line
at Norwich?
I know
first time. I think it was the first time they come up.
We've won a lot more, like with your likes of your Salahs and your Manes and that in the team, but for me, lad, the best player I've ever seen, apart from Gerrard in a Liverpool shirt, is Suarez.
He's one of the only players, not one of the only, but like one of the players who wasn't from Liverpool, but you identified him as a bit of a scouser in his attitude and that, you know what I mean? Like
he was mad, wasn't he?
He was nuts, absolutely nuts. Like, even like, you know what I mean? He'd already bit a couple of players, you know what I mean? And he just went and had to go with Ivanovic for nothing, like the ball had gone out and that.
I know, that's always the maddest thing about it.
Kid.
It's not as if like he grabbed hold of him or he pushed him, he just thought, fuck it.
You know what I mean?
Bit him.
I think that, we laugh at it because you think it was I think that cost Liverpool the league.
Oh no, it did cost Liverpool the league because he got banned the first 5 games of the season then.
And we got beat at home to Southampton. And I think we drew away at Swansea. And what did we lose the league by? Was it goal difference?
4 points.
No, it wasn't 4 points.
It was 4 points in the end. Again,
no, it wasn't.
After that Palace one, after Istanbul, it ended up being 4.
No, because if we'd have won that game, we could have won the league on goal difference. So it must have only been 2.
Yeah, it must have been 2 points.
2 points. So we lost at home to Southampton, and I think we drew away at Swansea.
That's 5 points right there.
And I think the first game he comes back is away at Sunderland, and him and Sturridge combine, and we win 3-1 away, I think. But he misses the first 5, 3 or 5 games.
I thought it was 5 because he got an 8-game ban, didn't he?
If he's playing away at Swansea or away at Southampton, we're not losing at home to Southampton.
He wouldn't have that.
You know, I think every Liverpool fan knows that and agrees with that. If he weren't banned the start of that season, we romped that league. You know what I mean? I think everyone knows that. He was the best. Beyond Messi and Ronaldo, he was the best player in the world at the time. He was better than Neymar.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, the thing comes close to people like
Neymar,
that.
The thing about great players, I always judge it by, and you can use this with players today, and I'm not knocking other players, but a great player is not just about your numbers. It's what you do to your team. Do you elevate your team?
Yeah,
right. So you look at someone like, I might be being a bit harsh here. Let's say Haaland, for example. And I use him because he's a centre forward. Now, he's the best goal scorer in the world. There's no doubt about that. He's won the treble at City, all these type of things. Now, I don't necessarily think he's made City better. He's just made them slightly different. Yeah. But when you look at the points they get to win the league, they're actually 5 or 6 less.
Yeah.
They don't actually score, even though he scores off the scale goals, the team don't score that many more goals. Yeah. Norway don't qualify for tournaments. Now, I don't know the Norway team. I might be being really harsh. They've got Odegaard and Haaland. But my point being is, Suarez takes an average Liverpool team almost to win the league.
On his own.
Uruguay get to the semi-final of the World Cup and they win the Copa America. Yeah. He then goes to Barcelona. You might say, it's Barcelona. But Barcelona for a year or so had just dipped. The year before Suarez went there, I'm sure, or they got beat 7-0 by Bayern Munich in the semi-final.
I remember that, yeah.
So it was just after Pep's time. Someone else had come in.
It was the old coach again, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think he actually passed away. No,
I think
the coach had passed away. He had a really
was
bad
the
illness.
Argentinian fella, was it?
No, it might have been him, but there was a coach who did Villanova or Tetano or something.
Tito Villanova.
Was that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm sure he passed away. Someone else came in, and then Suarez got them back up. Now, I'm not saying he was better than Messi, but he then took them where there's actually people who say that Barcelona team might actually be better than Pep's team. Because they were actually a little bit more direct.
That's MSN, isn't it? That's Messi, Neymar,
Suarez, Messi. There may never ever be a better front three than
you
what
look
they
at
had
some
for
of the goals that they scored that
in any
year,
team.
Like between the three of them.
So he dragged Barcelona back up to where they had been. What he done with them, and then he goes back to is he playing in Brazil or Uruguay now or somewhere?
He's still playing now. Yeah, he might.
He's gone to Miami.
Into Miami.
Into Miami, but he went
win
back.
the Copa America when he went back.
Where else did he go?
Like that.
Well,
where did he go from Barcelona?
No,
he's got the number 9 back.
He won the league at Atletico Madrid.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
he went to Atletico Madrid and won the league.
Yeah.
So he's not just a great player; he drags teams with him.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of a player who just
Yeah, well, that's what I always say about Gerrard. It does me head in when people compare him to Scholes and to Lampard.
To be honest, I'm so bored of that.
Yeah, it pisses me off.
I'm just bored of that. I'm like, oh my God, there's people still like, Stevie's like...
Nah, Stevie, anyone who knows football knows the answer to that, don't they?
Those two are great players, great lads. I get on great with brilliant lads, not cocky, not arrogant, not having themselves, just normal lads. I roomed with Frank. Me and him roomed together with England under 21s. He was captain, I was vice captain for 2 or 3 years. Get on great with Frank. But Stevie was just like Stevie.
He was a different level.
Different animal, lad.
It wasn't even
you could put Gerrard in that United team, that Chelsea team, and it'd make them better. But put them in our Liverpool team. They don't win a Champions League.
You just said yourself at the start of the episode, Stevie could have played anywhere. They played in centre midfield. That was their position. Paul Scholes was a centre midfielder. Lampard was an attacking midfielder, wasn't he? You know what I mean? He got on the end of things around the box. But the all-round players in terms of what they could do in different... Gerrard could have played up... Stevie could have played up top. Could have played centre-half. Could have played full-back. You know what I mean? He could have played on the wing. He did play on the wing.
I say that to Gary Neville. If Stevie Gerrard's been a right-back, he's never played for England.
Yeah. Well, it's true, isn't it? And if Rob Jones never got injured, he might never have played for England. You know what I mean? But, yeah.
That's a bell to one Neville of that.
I'd love for him to have just been sat there, just to see that. There's a little smarmy look on his face. But no, he's actually, I met Gary in the overlap thing, and
he's a bell to Gary.
You done one with him as well, didn't you?
Yeah, he's a proper nice fella, Gary. Obviously, when he played for United, I hate him.
He ruined our childhood.
Yeah, he ruined our childhood. I hate that Man United team. They absolutely ruined my life growing up. I hate them all.
Yeah.
I'd wish
horrible
things on them.
You were all right doing a podcast with him because there's a few quid in it.
You know that, as long as he's paying.
You pay your cash in it, just so I've got something on him, was it cash?
Yeah. Do you know who struck me though? As a proper nice fella, and I couldn't believe how nice he was on that night when we done it, Roy Keane. I couldn't believe how sound, And
he's just honest. That's why I really like him.
Yeah, you know what?
He's just honest.
He's hilarious, Roy. We do the podcast and all that. I love him. You know what? And a couple of times, after the podcast's done, we go to his house for a cup of tea and just
chat, carry on.
His missus and his kids today, just having a little cup of tea, bit of biscuit, after, because we do the podcast, say 10 in the morning, you finish at 12, 1 o'clock. And then he's like, does anyone want to come round? Because he's only round the corner. So we all end up going round to his for a cup of tea after it.
Well, I couldn't believe it because he's my favourite ever musician is Bob Dylan. Know what I mean?
Oh, he loves him.
He loves Bob. So I walked in and I'm talking to him about Bob and that. And then I went to see him in Amsterdam a couple of weeks ago. I was on row 3 and he went, I was on row 3 as well. I went to see him in there. We went to the same show and we talked. Then even after the gig, he come up after the gig and he was like, I like your lyric. He's proper into, and I was I fucking hated you, lad. Do you know what I mean? I hated you. And you're one of the nicest ex-players I've ever met, you know what I mean? Genuinely. Suppose, proper player, innit? A proper personality, do you know what I mean?
You know what I find? Well, I do find it, I think the higher up you go, I find that most of the players are just normal, decent lads. I think sometimes the lower down you go a little bit silly.
They're a bit like wet lettuces.
Or a bit more flashy.
Yeah.
Or they almost feel like, I'm a Premier League footballer. Say they play for the team in the bottom half. It's almost like they've got this thing in their head that Premier League footballers are supposed to act a certain way, so they do it.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones at the top, they're just the England players and that, they're just good lads, you know, just
you
normal.
sat back laughing at your memories, aren't you? You've had all them good memories, do you know what I mean?
As we're filming this while the Euros is on, it's obviously going to go out soon, but I've got to have to mention it because you just said it, like some players, lad, did you watch the Netherlands game the other day? What a bell end that Memphis Depay is. You know what I mean? I hope he sees this.
I saw the
you
headband.
had to film me. What happened, lad? I'm watching
he had a fucking headband on like he was in the NBA.
It was a proper headband on, wasn't it?
He had a personalised headband
he still got a skinhead?
like he was LeBron James. And it had number 10 on and something else on the back. It's like, lad, who are you?
Does he wear it for the club?
I
was watching it with R. James. I went, is that his thing?
It's just a mad one. He had a headband on like he was LeBron James. It's like, what are you doing?
Players are just mad now, aren't they? Like Pogba was one of the first ones for all that brand and shit, weren't he? You know what I mean? Sturridge got into it a bit, didn't he? He was wearing his own caps on the bench and shit like that. They're just all mad. Like footy players now, even like, you know, Carragher was like, era, when he growing up, you know what I mean? And we've both had the pleasure of like meeting a load of people from that era. And like, you know how like down to earth they are.
Who's the best and who's been the worst who you've bumped into? Like so you're famous, you get to meet people. Who's the best and worst?
You're the best, obviously. Kind of goes without saying, doesn't it? You know
Standard,
what I mean?
that really does go without saying.
You and Robbie have always been like amazing with me. You know what I mean? Like from when I first met you. The worst.
Gary Max a belter as well.
I thought you were going to say Gary Max a bellend. I was going to say no.
Gotta love Gary Max.
No one's going to say nothing to him.
Gotta love Gary Max, lads. I've met him at the match a few times. He's an absolute legend.
The worst, it's hard because like...
No, I'm not just talking Liverpool. I'm not talking Liverpool players.
I'm trying to think myself. No, like...
Because the majority of Liverpool players...
Mourinho was a bit of a beaut when I walked past him because, well, Liverpool had just beat them in Michigan, in America. I was on the club tour. You know, with the club.
Oh, what the United thing?
And they were United,
we battered them, didn't we? 4-1.
Shaqiri overhead kick, weren't it? You know what I mean? But we had to get on the planes at the same time, you know, after the game.
United and Liverpool players?
The planes were next to each other.
Oh, so I thought you were on the same
America,
flight.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, as we've, like, walked through this bit, like, I've sort of, like, he was, you know, fuming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't like proper overly approach him. I just said hello. You know what I mean? I was just like, he was there and I just went, oh, you're all right, Jose? And he went like, you know what I mean? But I think he was fuming. To be honest, I'm not going to name drop them, but a few players at Liverpool.
Now, I was just, I'm not going to say his name.
Bellends to me.
It's just about one of them who played, lad, he fucking...
One of them doesn't play for us no more. And like
the person I'm thinking of does play for us, lad. And I thought when I met him...
Two of them, to be honest.
I thought when I met him...
He's going to have to guess, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to badmouth the Liverpool player.
I mean, Liverpool fans, these are gods. These are gods to Liverpool fans.
Do you know what I mean? Off the fan pages or nothing like that. But
like, lad, when I was at that party the other week, lad, I ended up meeting Jurgen and all that, lad. That was just like I met most of the players, and lad, I'd say 9 out of 10 of them, like 19 out of 20 of them was boss.
Yeah, they've all been great. Like most of them have been really great with me. One of the best I ever spoke to out of like the recent Liverpool teams was Nat Phillips. I had a crack and laugh with him on a few flights and that. He was just dead normal. You know what I mean? And like he loves his tunes and that. So like they were all sound. But yeah, I'm trying to think who was like a bit of a knob from like other players who I've met. Like Tim Cahill, I wanted to hate him, but he was dead sound when I met him in Qatar.
Yeah,
I think Cafu gave me a bit of a cold shoulder once in Qatar. Like, obviously, he's not going to know who I am, but we were all sat at the same table in Qatar. Yeah. It was a mad table. It was like me, Barnesy, Cafu, Pochettino, and all mad.
That is a mad table.
All mad. Yeah, Torres, all mad players who were out there in Qatar. It was the semi-final with the World Club Cup, and I was doing like, I don't know what I was doing. I had a film. No, but I had like a film crew with me for like 3 days. They were showing me around Qatar.
Yeah.
And they were doing it with all these other people. And we had to go to like all the stadiums. And we had to go to here.
And you had to say what a great place it was and all
that. Yeah, all that shit. Do you know what I mean? But it was proper, like, you know, it was a bit of a mad few days. I got the trots and everything. It was horrible. But I remember like speaking, like, you know, like being at the table and like me and Cafu have both like got up to go to the toilet. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I was like, what's happening, mate? You know what I mean? And he was just a bit like, beat it, lads. Do you know what I mean? But I, to be honest, I weren't even like, again, I weren't sprightly. I weren't like, oh my God, I had the shits, do you know what I mean? And I couldn't eat nothing at the meal. I was eating bread.
You know, when you're talking about those type of players, they're the players I go, when I talk about like, you're seeing World Cup finals and Champions League finals, and I never thought I'd get there. And because I've played in a couple, and I played probably for Liverpool for so long, they'll know my face.
Yeah, they'll be, you know what I mean?
But I'm still a bit like, oh my God, that's Caff. You know, like the real world class players. I'm still a bit like, you know, I'll have to mention him now. My favourite player, because of my position, is Franco Baresi. I think he's the best centre back ever. I love him, follow him on social media and all that. And now and again, I send him the odd like DM, but it's probably not even him. You know what I mean? It's probably like some fella. Yeah. But I always like, if he puts a boss picture on or something, I always like put a little comment on and all that. And then I remember when I'd finished, the end of January is basically always FA Cup weekend, so we don't do it with Sky. So it's always on my birthday, you can always get away. So I booked Milan, right? The Milan derby. And so I took our James. So AC Milan were at home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so it was
their home game. Majority.
Yeah. So we went through AC Milan to get the tickets. And they were brilliant, you know, like really looked after. Got us in like a little lounge. So I go to sit down, right? James is sat there, so we're there like watching the warm-up and all that. And then like, Baresi just sits next to me. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, whoa. God, I'll show you the pictures at the end. So you know, in Italy, where they like the banners, we have our banners. You know, like the banner at the Kop, where it gets passed along and all that. Well, in Italy, they seem to like drop them from the top and they come down. You know, like just like they let it go and it
and then it gets folded down like underneath.
So I'm saying to James, this fella's unbelievable. This is Baresi. He hasn't got a clue, you know what I mean? I went, see this banner? I went, see that banner? It's him. It wasn't like all the players. It wasn't the team. It was like Baresi. And it just filled the whole stand. I went, that's him. That's how good he is.
He was the captain for years,
he was just, he was like, he wasn't old, but he was like, I don't think he probably has a clue who I was. Really. Maybe
I reckon he'd have been on you.
He might have been, but he wasn't like somebody who was like, he didn't look full of energy and like he almost looked like he couldn't speak English, and he was a bit like whatever. But
were you a bit more reserved because of that?
Yeah, but it was just like, it was wow. You got all pictures, I'll show you them in a bit. It was just like,
do you know what though? Like, obviously besides yourself and like Robbie, but like, I've met yous now, like loads of times, obviously, and like, so when I first used to meet yous, like I remember being on tour the first time you come down to a gig and that, and I remember being proper nervous, you know what I mean? Because like you were my player, you know what I mean? I was a full-back called Jamie, you know what I mean? Like, so you know, that was it for me, sort of thing. And I remember meeting Robbie on tour with Liverpool for the first time, and like the first time, you know, and I was like, fucking hell, it's Robbie, you know what I mean, in my head. But obviously, as you get more into it and you start to meet loads of people, you don't actually like feel the butterflies anymore, sort of thing, you know what I mean? I'm not saying our romance is dead, by the way, I'm not saying there's no spark there no more, like, do you know what I mean? But
like that,
what
no,
I'm
just
saying
fucking
is,
mute that
but what I'm saying is, every time I met Jurgen, there's something, like, just some people just carry like a thing, and you'll know, like, you know, and like, it's the maddest thing as well, like with Jurgen, like a couple of, I never went to the party, you know what I mean? I was flying out to get married the next day, and I never like got a chance to see him, you know what I mean, before he left. And I got asked to play that night in the arena, but it was the day of my wedding in Greece, do you know what I mean? So like, I thought I need to speak to him, you know what I mean, in some way. I need to like, because not only did he fucking win everything for Liverpool, but like him coming to visit me in that gig, that put me on the map. Like, it did me so...
Was that a pre-season?
Yeah.
I remember him, he was at the back.
2018,
He was at the back.
New York, wasn't he?
Michigan.
Oh, Michigan.
And he come in, and then a year later he asked me to go out for a pint with him in New York. And me and him just went out for a pint and like, you know, lagers and bifters and just talk. Like, it was mad, you know what I mean? And like, every time there was interviews where he'd name drop me, and he was talking about my performance in Madrid and what it done for me profile. It really changed my life. It genuinely did. I felt the difference after that moment, you know what I mean? Massively. So I thought I need to like get hold of him and thank him, you know what I mean? So I thought, who'll be able to get a message to him, you know what I mean? Who I speak to. And like, I speak to John Achterberg a lot. You know, he's a big fan of Boss Night. He's a big fan of, like, he's always commenting on me music, sending me messages, and he's a dead nice fella. He's like he's legend cool, of a fella. Like, I've always had a laugh with John on the pre-season tours and that. So I sent him a message on Insta and said, look, lads, if I send you like a video to the gaffer, will you just promise me you'll send it to him? I'm not asked about him replying. I just want to make sure I've thanked him. So he comes back and said, he's told me to give you his number. Message him. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what, are you sure? He's like, yeah, honestly. So like, I've had his number like the day I've flown out to Athens, like the day after I'm in Greece. And like, I've added him on WhatsApp and that, you know what I mean? And like, it's come up and it's a picture of him and his ma, you know what I mean? She like passed away, didn't she, during COVID and that. So I thought, it's fucking hell, it's him. And it's like, hello, ik heb echt een WhatsApp. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm using WhatsApp and I'm like, fucking hell. And I was sat there to my bed, like, with my wife now, and I'm going, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do, you know what I mean? Like, so like, I sent him the message after like 3 days of bigging myself up, sent a video, just recorded, said, look, Jurgen, nice one, blah, 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 and all that, you know what I mean? And then like at that moment, you know, I'm like, oh, what if he blanks me here? It'd be heavy this, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? And I'm like...
And then you leave, it goes a couple of hours, you go, oh, he's probably doing something. He hasn't looked at his phone.
You're thinking that it's like when you were younger and you messaged the bird for the first time, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, what, you know what I mean? And I was sweating, you know what I mean? And I purposely, after I sent the message, I went for a walk and left my phone in the hotel room, and I was like, and I come back and it was like messaging, it was like, Jurgen, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, what if he's just said like, mate. Do you know what I mean? After this thing, you know what I mean?
Nice one, Si.
And I was like, exactly, nice one, Si. So I was like, I fucking hope he's like done a video back, and I'm going to Rachel. And she's like, just so goes on my phone and like checking to see his back video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna like you because it's not about that, but the video, you know what he'd sent back to me, and like honestly, like I was fucking bawling with tears, lad.
That's what makes him who he is. That's what makes him special. He's just like the effect he's had on the 3 clubs he's managed. Like, I always say this about managers. It's like they all do the same coaching courses.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Jurgen Klopp knows miles more about football than like other managers. It's not that. He's just got the X factor in like whether it's his personality, the way he comes across, and you know, and he doesn't give a fuck, does he?
No.
You know, you can imagine him not being in awe of anybody. He walks into a room and he owns it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, not in a cocky, arrogant way. He's just got and the best ones have, that's what they have. You know, they have a charisma, they have a personality, because, as I said, you know, setting up a football team, you know, there's only so many formations, there's only so many coaching courses. They all do the same ones, they all share ideas, they all watch each other, they all got analysts. What makes a difference? You know, what makes a difference is like something where you can... You feel like
you've just said,
you feel like you're following them.
Players and fans wanted to run through walls for him. If he'd have told you to put your hand in a fire, you wouldn't have even asked how hot it was, would you? You'd have just put your hand in, you know what I mean? It was that...
I have always said that on different like podcasts and interviews and stuff, if there's one person you could meet, who would it be? And I always said Jurgen. I was like, I reckon he could be the only person that would have me lost for words. And lad, when he pointed at me outside the Titanic, and I went...
Tell that story, lad. That's about a story.
Lad, I don't know what it was. I was getting off. I was leaving the Titanic. I was getting off because it had done me head in, where there was 2 separate rooms, and I'd been given the wristband for the corporate room. Well, none of the players.
You're corporate.
All corporates are asking him for photos, though.
Yeah, all corporates are asking me for pictures in there, and I'm just like, and then I end up saying to my dad and my mate who I was with,
how did you know? Why didn't you try and bunk in the other one? What happened there?
My our fella's the cheekiest man alive.
You didn't have John Curry with you?
Yeah.
He was already in there.
He'd already got in there with his mates. And then me, Tony and my dad were fucking outside. But my dad started to be cheeky and just go in. It's ended up doing my head, and I've been like, I'm just getting asked for pictures here. Let's just go. Let's just get off. And as they say, timing's everything. Because as I've walked out of the Titanic and been walking down the cobbles, a woman's being like, move over. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, move over there. It's just they're going to video Jurgen and the team coming up. I was like, they coming now? Bell to that side. Moved over. And as I'm stood on the side, they're walking down, and they look over at me, and Jurgen looked at me and pointed right at me. And I went, thinking, is he pointing at me there? I turned around, it was only Tony and my dad behind me. So it was like, yeah, he must be pointing at me. You know what I mean? And then he started walking towards me and go, the machine. I went, like, there's a picture of me, and a picture with him. I'm like that. You know what I mean? My eyes are proper wide, where it was just like, oh my God, Jurgen Klopp knows who I am.
This is a fella who blanked Big Shaq as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I did in the DMs without even realising. But yeah, that. And then, as I say, we were getting off, and I said to Jurgen, I was like, we were going to get off now. And he was like, no, you're not going nowhere. Put his arm around me and pulled me in. No, I was like, oh my God. And then Stacey come out and give me 3 wristbands for them ones.
You, speaking of Jurgen, you played a game under him, didn't you, in Sydney? Is that right?
Mad, that, innit?
Yeah.
Funny that, because... And I say this story not in like in a... I don't know, sound big-headed here, but like... I'm trying to show where Liverpool were when Jurgen came in. So when people say, it took him like 3 or 4 years to win a trophy or 5 years to win the league, you're thinking, you feel like saying to these people, and it's not Liverpool fans, because we all know, but you know when other people go, give Ten Hag time, or give Arteta time, because it took Jurgen Klopp 5 years, you're like, listen, you don't realise how bad we were. That was his first...
No, but you know what,
being honest,
it's refreshing to hear it from someone who's played there,
hang on. So the team have got a friendly in Australia, probably getting a couple of million quid, to make a couple of million quid. There's no tournament, I don't think, at the end of the season. So Klopp was coming in like the November or October, I think. So that summer, Liverpool have got an end of season game in Australia, getting a few quid, right? They couldn't sell the tickets. Like to fill this stadium out. And Liverpool's teams come up with Jurgen Klopp as the manager. So the club asked me, Stevie Gerrard and Steve McManaman to come. Not to like, because they didn't have any players.
Oh, you used like the legends on the tour?
Yeah, a bit like, and Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher and Steve McManaman are playing to try and like boost a few of like the ticket sales.
That's mad, that.
Isn't it? It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. And that's why I say to people, that's where Liverpool were at the time when we think like, we go all around the world, we sell everything out and all that. When Jurgen came in, we'd been on a bad run for like about 6 years.
About 8 or something like that.
We had the season with Rodgers, which being honest, was a freak.
It was a one-off.
Because of Suarez.
Because of Suarez, exactly.
We weren't even a top 4 team. We become a top 6 team, which was, we were a Europa League team. And the thing about that was, so we played a game, and then we go to like have a bevy in the night and all that. So Jurgen Klopp doesn't obviously knows who we are, but out like knowing and all that. And he probably thinks he knows me as a player. Everyone thinks when Carragher puts his foot in and all that, he'll have a go and all that. So I've had the ball a few times and, fucking just played a few passes. And he just sort of whispered, we're in this band, he just whispered, and he went, your passing surprised me. I went, I said, it surprises a lot of people. I don't get enough credit for me passing. He went, not bad.
Nice that. Got a compliment off the big fella though.
Did you notice
it? Better.
Before we move on to the quiz, because we're going to have to move on to the quiz, but did you notice it different? Like when you play, even though it was a friendly, and I know it was a bit of a mad game in the context of it, but like, when you see them, did you notice that there was something different about them?
There was 2 things I remember. The team meeting, I wouldn't say it was anything special that I hadn't seen before, but the fact that me, Steve and Steve McManaman were in the room, I was watching the teams. It'll be interesting to see Jurgen's team talk. And sometimes like you'd see a manager, he might make reference to us, or like maybe put on a bit of a laugh and a joke, and don't forget it's an end of season game, or like, not trying to impress us, but almost like put a bit of an act on for us. Yeah. But I was watching him and he was like, he didn't reference us at all, and he didn't. And I thought he's got this presence that he doesn't care that like basically Stevie Gerrard, the best player in Liverpool's history, is in the room there. Yeah. He's just like, I'm Jurgen Klopp, this is my team talk, and he was doing a serious team talk. And I always remember coming off at half time. We walk into the tunnel, and it's like I'm competitive.
Yeah.
And he went mad at the referee for not giving us a penalty. And it was like, I think we were already winning 2-0. But it was like a blatant pen that he never gave. But it was like a lunatic as the referee come off. And I was like, I like that. Yeah. I like the fact that he's like, even though this is like, it was like, so they always stuck in my head, those 2 moments.
The biggest reason I thought he was, when I knew he was different, even in his personality and all that, you know what I mean? Like, just like as a person, not like the managerial side of it, was getting on a pre-season tour, we were walking off the pitch, I think I've told you this. And I was like, I used to just, when I go on the pre-season tours, I do my gigs and that before the game, but I get a little AAA, have a little wander around the Red Sox stadium and that, I'll go in the press bit, I'll go to the pitch side, I'll just have a nose, do you know what I mean? Do what Scousers do, sort of thing. So at the end of the game, I'm with Ricky, the camera lad, Ricky. So we're walking off behind Klopp, down the tunnel, do you know what I mean? I think I've got a bag of balls over my shoulders, you know what I mean? Just like helping out sort of thing. And all these Americans are going, yo, Klopp! Sign for Keir, man. Fucking sign for Keir. You remember that Fakir thing that was going on?
Yeah.
And they're all like, you need a sign for it. And he just goes...
Oh, the fella from Leon.
Yeah. And he goes...
Got pictures in a Liverpool shirt and all that.
Yeah, and he goes, like waves to them like that. And he turns around to me and Mickey and goes, what for? To cut the fucking grass? He goes, we got 6 fucking unbelievable these fucking idiots. Sign for care, fuck. And I was just like, he's fucking class, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's boss.
Though, before we move on to the quiz, though, something we never touched on is what was it like playing under Dalglish? Because obviously the man is an absolute legend. Whenever I meet him, he's one of the people who I am always in awe of. Know what I mean? When I can see him at the ground and that, it's just like...
He loves you, Kenny, as well,
lad, Kenny's the man, lad. And he is a proper scouser. He might be a jock, but he's a proper scouser.
Yeah, I think when he come in, his first game was away at Old Trafford.
I was at that game, 1-0 defeat.
I was injured. I dislocated my shoulder under Hodgson near the end, so I wasn't involved.
FA Cup, wasn't it?
FA Cup game, yeah. We got beat 1-0. Stevie got sent off.
I think someone got sent off early on. We give a pen away in like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There was something Berbatov got dived. He dived, I think, Berbatov.
Yeah, I think I can remember that.
I think Stevie might have got some... Oh, I don't know. Something rings a bell like that. But I think for us, it was probably bigger than for other people because, you know, time moves on. And these foreign players aren't Liverpool fans. So they know Kenny Dalglish. Oh, it's Kenny Dalglish. But for us, you know, being sort of Kenny Dalglish, you know, I think was pretty special. And people... Kenny's reign actually was very good.
I thought he was going to get permanently signed. I don't know
he
why.
did.
Yeah.
But so what happened was we from when he came in after get the United game out the way and maybe a couple of other games, but we went on a brilliant run and we thought we were going to make the top 4. So we must have come in, we were about 12th or 13th, maybe lower in the league. And with 2 games to go, Tottenham came to Anfield and beat us 2-0. Modric was unbelievable. And that killed the top 4 thing. And I think if we'd have won that game, we might have had a chance. I can't remember exactly, but it was like a little bit of an outside chance. The next season comes in, he brings his players in, and the season doesn't go well in terms of the league, but it wasn't until very late that we were out for the top 4. I remember we lost the game at home to Arsenal, and Van Persie got away from me, certainly on the winning goal.
That the volley.
Reina should have saved it though. Pepe, wherever you're at, he should have saved it.
Near post volley. Was that the one? I remember that. He should have saved that.
And we battered Arsenal.
He was some player as well, wasn't he?
I think we missed a penalty. We battered Arsenal that day. And because we were still in both cup competitions, or we'd already won one and we were in the other one, I think because it was almost like we're not going to make the top 4 now. I think the focus went on the cup, so the league sort of fell away. So it looked like a bad league position, but for the majority of it, we were there or thereabouts in terms of making top 4.
Yeah, we won the League Cup that year, didn't we?
We won the League Cup and we got the FA Cup final. Yeah. So we got to 2 cup finals. We won one of them. Got beat by Chelsea in the final. And then he went to America. He had the chat with the owners. It wasn't like he was like sacked. He went and spoke to the owners. And I think the idea was for him to stay. Whatever's been said, whatever's happened, I don't know. And then that was it. So he had 18 months, but he won a trophy. You know, and it really, you know, picked up for us, you know, at the time. So it's great for me to say, and probably Stevie as well to say, you know, we were managed by the legend, Kenny Dalglish.
Bosh.
Right, are you ready, boys, for the quiz, the real quiz?
Yeah, let's do this. I'm ready for this, like.
Sound, Jamie Carragher quiz. Question 1. Jamie Carragher received the most yellow cards of his career playing against Man United. How many times was he booked against them? I didn't know that, actually.
It's got to be.
It's played them twice a season.
It's got to be double figures,
years at least. Yeah, it's at least double figures.
I hope it is. Go on.
I don't know if my favourite number's too many.
What's your favourite number then?
15. I think it's too many though. What is it? Fuck it, yeah.
The thing I love about that picture as well, I know what you have.
I went 12.
I have as well.
Oh, you both got 12?
Fucking sick, that.
What's
11.
11.
Yeah, we've done you a bit of justice there.
That's one on Michael Owen, that. He was trying to get me sent off. He wasn't trying to get me off. It could have been a red card, that one.
He's another rat.
What's that then? Is that like
Let's
one
not
piece?
go there about Michael Owen, lad. He's an absolute lizard.
Right. Go on then. Question 2. Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard hold a Premier League record for the most appearances by a player duo. What does that... So, the most games together. Yeah. How many games did they appear in alongside each other? Oh, you're not going to get that.
No, we're not going to get it dot on, but we could have a good guess.
Only people like the fella.
You know what? I should be allowed to do this because I haven't got a clue what that answer would be.
So you played over 700 games?
No, it was Premier League. So Steve, I played over 500.
was going to say...
I think Stevie played over 500.
I know, I reckon it's about 450 or something.
Oh, no, Stevie might have... Did Stevie play over 500?
Because there was times where you would have been injured and that. But
no, it can't be 550. I only played
450.
Oh, no, it'll be less than that. I reckon it's around the 350 mark. I reckon it's between 350 and... yeah, I'm not giving you a clue. I don't know. I would imagine that would be between 350 and 400.
Right, I'm just going for that mad number.
Same. 369.
328. 383.
I tell you what, wasn't a bad guess by me there. I knew it'd be between that. So that's the most...
I was closer there.
That's the most from anyone. Who's the next duo?
I know, who's the next duo after that? Terry and Lampard or something?
I might start using that one when I'm out.
That's
do you know
a belt.
Gerard
copyrighted that, Carragher.
Question 3. According to Transfer Market, what was Jamie Carragher's highest ever market value in pounds? And this is from June 2009. So I'm at my peak. What were players going for then?
That's what I'm thinking, 2025.
2009.
Isn't that around the time we bought Aquilani?
30 million was a big fee for Alonso, wasn't it?
I reckon that would be about... I'm 30 then, or I'm 31. So take that into account.
I'm going to go...
it's got to be close to 20.
I'm going to go...
It's got to be. I've been 18.
I'm going 16.5. 16.4!
You've got to give him that. He's gone for the point. He's gone for the point.
Lad, he was fucking a point.
That's a steal. 16.4 million for me then. Wow.
Steal.
I was getting the Champions League final and semi every year.
He's got to call me a cheeky bastard here with 16 and a half.
Right, question 4. This came up on Twitter the other day. How many days after his first goal for Liverpool did Jamie Carragher find the... How many days after his first goal for Liverpool, Jamie Carragher find the back of the net again? So
we include
so basically
own goals here or?
No. So from my first goal to my next goal, how many days?
No.
2 or 3 years, something
you
like that.
You know what? I read something on Twitter the other day, up to Joe or something. I didn't reply to it at all, so I'm getting hell enough anyway, just off their tweet. I'm not replying to it. I've gone the longest in Premier League history between a goal and my next one. But I don't think it was my first one. I think it might have been my second one to my next one.
Nearly scored a cracker on your last game as well, didn't you? Fucking hell.
How many days?
No, what?
After his first goal, I think my next goal...
I'll never forget that because I had a season ticket that year, but was out the night before. You know what we used to be like, lad. I was still up. And Dale McDonald... I gave Dale McDonald the ticket for Carragher's last ever game. I can remember him coming to pick the ticket up off me. And you hit the bar.
Yeah, I'm surprised Dale was fresh and you were.
I know, I went fresh and Dale was. I'll never forget it. After it, I remember when you hit the bar, I was like, imagine that I wouldn't have went to that game.
This is hard, because it's days.
You know what?
How many years do you reckon?
I think it's 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, so I'm saying in between 2 and 3. I'm saying between...
Are we going over 1,000 days?
That's what I was
saying. I don't think it's over 1,000.
I'm saying, I'm going to... Yeah, fuck it. I like repetitive numbers.
I think it's 99.
I've went 888.
It's so 97 to 99, I think it is.
So that's longer than 2 years.
I think the game is the game Southampton at home, we beat them 7-1.
What have you went for?
I know the local lads scored.
I went from 720 to 730.
Oh my God.
How are you getting this close, lad?
Lad, why did you just hit me, lad? I don't know your own strength, eh?
That's what Blaze says, lad. I'll slap him on the leg.
Lad,
he's like, that's too hard.
Lad, you say hello to people and nearly knock them over, lad. My leg will be bruised like a peach, mate, lad.
Right. Is this the last question?
Like 1 or 2 off on fucking 2 answers, lad. You've been giving him these answers, haven't you?
Right, question 5. How many Merseyside derbies?
I changed it from 720 to 730.
How many Merseyside derbies did I play in?
Professional games only included.
Merseyside derby.
15 years, 2 seasons.
Oh God.
Cup games as well.
That's what I'm saying. 2 seasons.
Dan Gosling one on that, weren't they? There's a few cup games. Fucking hell.
Yeah, major cup games.
It's got to be
40.
There wasn't that many cup games, you know.
Nah, cup finals.
No. So we had a semi-final.
The Andy Carroll
we had an FA Cup game where they actually knocked us out, but that was a replay.
Dan Gosling.
That was
so you'd had the game before as well in the cup then, hadn't you?
Yeah, I think I might have only played Everton 3 times in the cup.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, but you play for Liverpool for like 15 seasons in the league.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is there's not loads of cup games on top.
15 seasons. I might just go for 40, mate.
I think it's 30 something.
I'm not sure.
30.
30?
I was closer.
I thought it'd be about 34,
close.
35. Do you know how many times I played against Chelsea?
Oh, it must have been a
I know,
good
because
few.
you got them in the semis of the Champions League multiple times.
47 times.
47 times. More so at Stamford Bridge, do you reckon?
Probably, yeah.
Just we had a few away cup games. Remember Martin Kelly won and that, know what I mean, back in the day.
I used to hate Chelsea.
Is that
So
the last
who's won the
question?
quiz?
I've never... Well,
Is
I
that the
was
quiz?
closer then, but I didn't get it right, know what I mean? Yeah, 2-2, then the first question, we both said the same and we're both
2-2?
wrong.
What two did you get right?
He got closer.
We got closer.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Closer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Tiebreaker.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
What was
wow.
Jamie Carragher's win percentage under Rafa Benitez?
Fucking hell, lad.
Rafa's win percentage.
Is that Premier League games?
All
time.
Sake.
It'll be better than Premier League then, because he always performed better than fucking cups. Benitez, didn't he?
It's not going to be proper high though, because it's hard to have like a win percentage in the centre.
yeah.
I'd imagine that would be about... I
was gonna say
don't
low
think it's over
70s.
70. No, that means you got to win 7 out of 10. That's not easy to win 7 out of 10.
No, yeah, you're right there.
But I think I think it's going to be between 60 and 70.
Yeah. Give it a little... I'm not telling you what I'm putting, but...
I'd go for 66.
That was so weird. I've
Oh,
just
so you
writ
got that as well?
I've just writ that as you said.
Go on then.
Yes!
56.
I'm closer.
Yeah, you're closer.
Yes.
Fucking hell, shocking that.
1-1 on the challenges.
56.
56.
I'm disappointed with
The
that.
wrong,
I didn't want to go in the 50s because I thought you'd be insulting then, know what I mean?
And then it was.
Yeah, there it was. I know, yeah, I got the wrong number first. I put 66 just to put the 5. You motherfucker.
Come on
Well,
then.
I win this one, lad, and you didn't.
Yeah, you won this
I've
one, I won the
got
last
a dead
one.
leg to thank for it, like, but it's all good. So even that, lads, even that. Like, do that to him, lad.
No, it's just a little...
He's got like proper, like, he grabs you, lad, and like, he proper...
Nah, it's the worst when I'm out and I'm pissed. Like,
When he's
I
had a
just,
bevy,
when
lad,
I've had
in-
a bevy, I'm just like...
Lad,
just,
You know,
yes,
after your
lad.
fight, you have a bender, don't you, after your fight?
Yeah, not right after me fight. I'll wait a week or two, know what I mean? Because, lad, the night of your fight, you're always knackered, know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just
yeah.
probably like a Champions League final or something after the game. Fucked. Couldn't
still
even
went
be
out.
arsed doing... Yeah. Couldn't even be arsed doing anything. But yeah, everyone says that to me. Like, I don't realise how heavy-handed I am.
I don't reckon you would have went out like we went out, though, back in the day, do you reckon?
Yeah, no. That was... No.
Weekends in Paradise.
Yeah, literally, lad. That's where I met Paddy on the weekends in Paradise.
On the weekend in Paradise, that's how we met each other.
Yeah.
Liverpool, man.
Hey.
What a place.
And that's the second episode of the podcast, everybody. Nice one, went on
Thank
well
you
longer.
all for watching.
Yeah.
We had a marvellous time here. This was
And we birds walking around town looking for me.
Yeah, I'll 100% have like 3 missed calls off Rachel as well.
I'm
Guaranteed.
probably getting told I'm a shit dad when I get in anyway. You know, standard.
You're a good dad, Pad.
Standard women for you.
All the best, everyone.